man, oh man, Andrew Garfield, I love the dude, but he gets put in a position that's not his fault. But he says, no, I haven't heard anything about that as far as Spider-Man 4. He's a liar. And he said as much. He said, I can tell you that I don't know anything about it, and you're still going to say you're not going to trust me. And guess what? Andrew, I love you, but I don't trust you. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the fact that Spider-Man is still on this discussion of should it be a street level, should it be a multiverse thing. There's tons of DC stuff. There's that little bit of the Batman silhouette that we got in Creature Commandos, so we'll discuss that, about what's happening with Batman overall. You got some stuff with, now that we haven't really discussed Jason Momoa as Lobo, so we'll get into that. So there's so much to talk about on this episode of Kristian Harloff Show, the Capes and Cowls edition. I'm pretty excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it. It's myself, it's Winston, it's Coy. Let's get into it, guys. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Capes and Cowls. It's myself, Winston A. Marshall. Yeah, you know it. Coy Jandro's here. I'm just kidding. He's not here. Yes, he is. Right. Coy Jandro. So we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the show here today, and what a week it has been, to say the least. To say the least. So what's going on, Coy? How you doing, buddy?
Excited. Spider-Man news is always like just hope, just like the S on a chest. I'm made of hope.
That's true. Winston, I got to thank you, my friend, for helping Roca hold it down this week on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You guys kept the channel going, so I am thankful.
I was starting to believe that the only other person that existed on the internet was Roca. So, I'm glad to see you two guys. I haven't feel like it's been forever.
It's true. Well, so Coy, Winston and Roca had an opportunity because they had 3 days to, set the record this week. So luckily enough, they didn't do it any one of those days. Steph and Mike did it yesterday at 93.
Jesus Christ. How do I have 4 shots and I'm still in last place?
Yep.
Ouch. I mean, at least it's Steph. Like, Steph is reigning champ. So at least if you're going to lose.
And to be fair, it was my first show back. So
that's also true.
And you guys got to talk about Lobo. I'm really jealous. Like, that Lobo news breaking before our show, man. I'm like, that's such Downey level casting.
Yeah, look, I can't remember what it was, and I think that Winston and Roca even read it out at one point where they said it's like the worst kept secret, and everybody knew that was
Momoa making like a celebratory video at DC, being like, something's happening. I was like, the character you were born to play?
Yeah. So, anyway, we have a long show today. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to do. We've already got 4 questions in there, so if you guys want to get some questions in for myself, Winston, and Coy on our first show of 2025. Make sure you do just that. And as Coy mentioned, we have this Spider-Man story, and this is the said story. Andrew Garfield denies Spider-Man 4 rumors, but he is fully aware that no one is going to trust anything that he says. Just truer words have never been spoken. Recent rumors have claimed that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are set to return for Spider-Man 4, but the latter has now denied the involvement. Okay. So, previous big screen Peter Parker's Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield both returned for Spider-Man No Way Home, joining Tom Holland's current MCU wall crawler for a multiversal adventure that went to take on over $1 billion worldwide. There have been persistent rumors that both actors are set to reprise their respective roles for the still untitled Spider-Man 4, but if plans are in place, Garfield is not about to confirm anything. I'm going to disappoint you, he tells GQ. Yeah, no, but no one's going to trust anything I say from now on. Garfield is referring to the numerous times he denied the rumors that he was set to return for No Way Home, only to swing onto the screen alongside Holland and Maguire. Even if Marvel and Sony were considering bringing Garfield and Maguire back at some point, plans might have changed Several scoopers have claimed to have heard from reliable sources that the story still hasn't come together, indicating that the script might be undergoing a major overhaul due to differences of opinion between Holland and Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige. Apparently, the movie is still a long way from starting production because there isn't a financial shooting draft yet. Finalized. The movie has a release date of July 24, 2026, with filming reportedly scheduled to get underway around August of next year. There's time to ensure that these deadlines are met, but insiders believe that delays are possible. Holland also has Nolan's The Odyssey to shoot next year, which could result in scheduling conflicts. This wouldn't be the first time those involved with bringing No Way Home follow-up to the screen had disagreements about the project. Previous reports have claimed that Feige and Sony's Tom Rothman clashed, with the former hoping to scale the multiverse elements back for a smaller adventure. Rothman, meanwhile, is said to have wanted to capitalize on No Way Home's success by bringing Maguire and Garfield back into their respective roles on Peter Parker. More recently, we heard that both studios have settled on a mostly grounded story with some multiversal elements, though the movie was still being described as Avengers-level event up until recently. Here's what Holland had to say about the fourth Spidey movie. We have the best in the business working toward whatever the story might be, but until we've cracked it, we have a legacy to protect. The third movie was so special in many ways that we need to make sure we do the right thing. Seems like they're still trying to figure out what the right thing is. Number of rumors relating to the story may have been doing the rounds, and all of them to believe we'll be seeing Holland, Maguire, Garfield's wall-crawling join forces with Venom, Ghost Rider, Black Cat, Daredevil, Punisher, all set to go against Mephisto, Vulture, Null, and an army of symbiotes. Hopefully, those involved with Spidey 4 will come up with the ideas that suit everyone, yada, 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 yada. Okay, so there's really a lot here, to be honest, and a few different things, Winston. I think the first thing that I noticed that I don't know, because I don't think we've discussed it on this show, is that we were all convinced it's going to be this multiversal thing. I hadn't heard anything that they'd settled on a more grounded story, so that's an interesting thing right there. The other interesting thing, there's like 15 interesting things in this article, but the two that stood out to me was the one I just mentioned to you, and the fact I didn't know that why are Feige and Holland not getting along? What's going on there? Not agreeing, I should say, not getting along, but not agreeing. And what does someone want? An even more grounded story? Does someone want, like, what's happening there? And I think that's one of the things where, when Holland gets to a certain place, he's a producer now, right? He's not just the actor in it; he's a producer now. And if you want him to come back, and he's got to have more say. That sometimes that could be a good thing, sometimes that could be a bad thing. So, yeah, what do you make of all of this?
I mean, a couple of things. First of all, I'm happy to hear that they've pumped the brakes on going cosmic again. If you really are bringing it more grounded, I mean, even if you somehow involve the other two Spider-Men, I mean, sure, but as long as it stays as something, it's kind of hard to do that, I guess. But as long as you stay with something that feels street level one way or the other, and maybe we just had a situation where Toby's here for some reason, whatever, then fine. Instead of the idea of the multiverse is going to collapse if Spider-Man doesn't do something. That's the one thing we've been asking, is we just want to see your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which is what they kind of set up. I think maybe Feige and Holland have been disagreeing, because even if they've come to that conclusion, maybe how they're handling it hasn't gone very well. Maybe there's, I don't know if Holland was super gung-ho about Venom per se and the King in Black and then all of a sudden, Feige's like, no, but that's not what we're doing right now. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe it's like Feige's like, yeah, we're about to go into Secret Wars, so we need to whatever. I wouldn't read too much into it, because the one thing that Tom said is that he's not going to pull the trigger on anything that doesn't feel comfortable about. And I've gotten to a place where I trust him. And I trust Feige to be smart about it too. He's never done anything just to do it. I think the only time that really happened is when he was going to be pushed more into quantity over quality in that Chapek era. So I think that sure, they're probably disagreeing, but I wouldn't worry too much about it personally.
But Coy, where do we go with this at this point, where if they still haven't locked down a script yet, we didn't even address the Garfield comments in general, because maybe he is telling the truth, that it's like, hey, they had conversations with us, but they don't really even know if they want to send the movie right now. But if that's the case and they don't have a script locked up, why are we going to believe that they're going to release this in July of 2026? It seems like that's going to be a tough thing to do.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the release date for me is like whether or not that's possible. Also, I mean, what I hope is happening is that everyone is Andrew Garfield, and I would just lie everywhere all the time. Like if I was in the position of Tom Holland, Kevin Feige, anyone at Sony, anyone at Marvel, I would actively tell everyone 10 different stories and let people like us talk in circles for a year. Like maybe they're done filming. Like I just at this point, like I would want as much mistruth out as possible, and that way we have no idea. Like I think everyone's a werewolf, and that's how it should be. Every studio should constantly lie so people don't get scoops.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's probably unlikely that they're had filmed, right? Because there's no
that was being hyperbolic. I'm saying
I know you were. But we talked about that at one point. You and I did think.
Literally, you and I had that scenario where we were like, what if that's the thing?
But one of the things that came into that was the fact that it'd just be so hard to keep that a secret.
Oh, right? It's impossible in 2025. Impossible.
But I don't disagree with you that even if Garfield is in it, he should continue to lie. That's the other thing too. Even though we have said, hey, rumors, he's telling a fib, we can still say, yeah, he's lying. And I think that he is. I think he's not to have conversations, but he should, because you got to protect the secret. Because what is he going to do? What's he going to say? Yeah, I'm in it.
And then for a year have to dodge it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one, I think that's smart for him to just play that off. Don't worry about that. But I've been trying to think what Tom and Kevin could be fighting over. Is there a world in which maybe, like, Tom has said he still loves the role, but he's obviously started to grow into other things and stuff like that. Is there a world maybe where he wants to introduce a successor quicker? So like maybe they want to bring in Miles, but Feige's not ready to do that or something like that. Because we do already have Donald obviously playing Prowler. Like that's already happened. And we've kind of seen him also in Spider-Verse. So is there a world where maybe there's this like kind of build up to do that and Tom wants to pull the trigger quicker than Feige or something like that?
I'm intrigued because didn't 6 months ago, wasn't there our first Kevin Feige mentioning Miles Morales name drop in an interview or something where he said when down the line, Miles Morales, it could be, but also even the argument element, that's something I would immediately want to leak if I was trying to get mislead people. I would love, I would leak Kevin Feige and Tom Holland are getting along in the story. What a great way to go pivot and get stuff done. Back to my first statement of everyone's the werewolf. I would leak something as big as man, those guys aren't agreeing on the script, and that would be the story as opposed to anything truthful getting out.
Yeah.
That's a big enough sizzle, that's enough.
Still, same thing. I think there's just probably too much spy work that I feel like a lot of this stuff is actually probably accurate, that they can't get on the same page. I do, but it's just a matter of what it's going to be. I don't know. I don't know what the story is going to be. I still don't know overall what the shape of Marvel is. So it's, even though I'd like to see a street level Spider-Man, I don't know where they're going to lead up to, how it's going to play into the overall arc of what they're doing in the MCU. I still think that in order, because someone said that they apparently in the contract you can do a separate Peter Parker story. Just bring in Andrew Garfield and McGuire and let them do their own thing for Sony. People will watch it. I mean, maybe it's going to be, as Coy said last week when we were talking about the Batman movies, you get more Spider-Man stuff.
It's literally the same scenario. Why not have two?
It is, but it isn't, because the reason.
Studio?
What's that?
Different studio?
No, not. Well, I mean, yes, partially, but that's not my main reason. Because it is part of the same time. It is part of the same story. It is part of this, because Garfield and McGuire have interacted in the MCU.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and it's connected, so you have that audience that it is paying attention. Those people have existed in the MCU, even if it is in a different timeline.
Makes sense.
But you can still give them their own story in an Elseworlds thing for sure. But you just know that they have been there before. So I don't know, man. It's it's going to be interesting in general, but I guess we'll get into a bigger conversation about that with the street level conversation, because Comic Book Movie did actually do a whole article on that, and this is what they said as far as the street level versus the multiverse thing, and I guess making the case for it. All right, let me bring it up here. So, and for people who are yesterday, every other comment was because I told everybody that I've been out taking care of the family and everything, and it's been tough, and then I guess it must have been 3 months ago, my Rodecaster went down, and ever since then the sound has just been so weird on both OBS and especially in streaming. And then yesterday, for some reason, somebody's mic or Steph's mic was hotter than ours, and then today they're saying the same shit, and it's like,
we all press that button. The equal.
I don't know. It's just like it's the same thing. I don't, and then which is fine. People say, but I saw some guy make a comment yesterday. He's just like, "Come on, another sound issue." I'm like, "This is," and I wrote to the guy. As I said, "Do me a favor, just hire somebody, spend the money, hire them, send them to my place, and then hire them for me, and then you can have the engineer, you can have the hire them for me." He's like, "So you can't keep having sound issues." I work by my motherfucking self. I don't have a big crew. I have people. I have you guys who host with me, but I don't have people to help me. So if you want to hire someone to help me, hire someone. Send them on over. But I'm working on it today. I'm supposed to get on a phone call later on today, and I think that I'll probably be able to knock it down at the end of the by the end of the day tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, so this is the conversation that they were having. The Spider-Man 4, should it be a street level or multiversal tale? And here it is. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe next Spidey film is scheduled to release in July of 2026. Would the film be better as a multiverse story or a street level tale? Rumors surrounding Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4 have been widely circulating for months. Some rumors have claimed it would be a street-level story, including characters like Daredevil and Kingpin, while other rumors stated that the movie would be a multiverse adventure featuring Null or other Spider-Man. Telling a street-level Spider-Man story and telling a multiversal adventure both have the potential to form a great movie, but which would be best? Let's dive in. Some of the multiverse pros here, and they say Venom. You could have Venom in it. It would be in the second movie. He brings up Venom here. Street level pro, a new kind of story, which we've discussed many times over. We keep seeing the same multiverse stuff. It'd be good to get back to the kind of street level Spidey. Multiverse pro, the Spider-Men. I don't see that as a pro. I see it as too much. And then street level pro, Netflix characters. You can bring in Daredevil and those people. Multiverse pro, Robert Downey Jr., Dr. Doom down there. Street level pro, an identity crisis. Amy Pascal was quoted saying Peter is giving up on being Peter Parker in the next Spider-Man movie. While there have been rumors Marvel execs are unhappy with the script, it doesn't mean Peter won't go through an identity crisis. Technically, this idea could play out in a multiverse story as well. Multiverse con, the multiverse itself. Yes, agreed. Street level con, disconnect from the MCU. I don't know if that's a con. So this is some of those pros, some of those cons in general, though. You read the whole kind of breakdown of it, but what do you guys think?
Just off the bat, that last con of being disconnected from the MCU, who says? Literally, who says? Like, how many different that was kind of what we built this off of, is that you were connected, but you were focused on where you were. Like, look at, say, I'm trying to give like a good example. Maybe Captain America, like Winter Soldier. Like, yeah, it's connected to the greater MCU, but we just focused on Cap. We were literally focused on Cap working with Widow to be like, dude, I think a ghost from my past is alive, and how that affects things. The same thing can happen with Spider-Man. If something happens to New York City and he's the only one that's there that can save it, it still affects the rest of the MCU if New York City is in peril. So like, I don't understand how that is necessarily even a real thing. To make that a con. But as far as all those go, I think we're all on the same page that I still think it needs to be street level and leave the multiversal stuff alone, especially because you have plenty of that teed up anyway.
Coy?
I think this article is a great example of why, people got decently mad at me a few weeks ago when I was saying that the best thing DC could do is not try to be a one path story where everyone's waiting for the next thing, because everything becomes about the post-credit scene or the Easter eggs or the trailer for the next thing. And I think that this whole article reads as that problem. And to mirror what Winston's saying, the MCU has been able to succeed in doing this story is independent. It affects stuff out here, just like in real life. But I think the expectation and anticipation of like, oh, I'm not going to see that when it doesn't connect. We saw that to scale with the end of the DCEU when people were announced as this ending. They were like, oh, why would I see those movies? They don't connect to anything because the movie itself. Like, I think we need to focus on the 2 hours that we bought a ticket for and then the consequences therein. But we, for 80 of the 100 years of cinema, you didn't make a movie to make a sequel. It was a benefit, but you also didn't make this thing in order for the following thing. Like, I want kids I'm not worried about my grandkids. I'm worried about having kids. Like, it's a really weird way to look at art. So I hope we go back to that with these characters because they deserve their own time.
I mean, Coy, you kind of hit it, man. It's the idea also as far as like you don't gear up for a sequel. You might leave a thread, but
Sure.
it's whether or not we're gonna pull it is the question. You just leave enough of a thread that if you want to pull it, you can. And we obviously know because of how this franchise of the MCU has been built out that we're eventually going to. But that should not be the focus.
I mean, you brought up Winter Soldier, right? Like Bucky was dead for 70 years, or like 60. Like Bucky Barnes, the character, died, and then a writer, a great writer, Ed Brubaker, was like, "What if?" and then made Winter Soldier, and then Winter Soldier existed. But it wasn't us waiting for Winter Soldier. Bucky was dead.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, doing the MCU rewatch for I'm doing a rewatch and Sam's doing it for the first time. And we just recorded Iron Man 3. I don't know if I've ever seen a better reaction from anyone in watching it, but you guys won't guess the moment that she has just the two best reactions ever. And
I love that movie.
Probably I've come back around on it. Probably Trevor Slattery. She probably
that's not the biggest reaction. That was
the airport. I mean the airplane monkeys in a barrel.
No, it's when Pepper ate it. She was so upset when Pepper ate it. She was no, she's like took it as a real. And then when she came back, her reaction on both. But like she curses because she hates Loki, but she hates Guy Pearce even more after that. And it's such a great, honest reaction, and I'm so glad that people are checking it out. It's going to be a good. But yeah, Iron Man. It's so funny rewatching them again, like especially after the movies that we've gotten over the last like 2 or 3 years. Like they're so much more solid. I mean, not those movies. The Iron Man 3 and all those. They're so much better. Like I still don't love some of the stuff they do, and I still think it's a great Shane Black movie, as opposed to an MCU movie. But because there's stuff that Tony Stark does in this that is not consistent to the other movies that he was in, and it's clearly Shane Black humor, funny humor. But like for example, like when the kid says like, "Well, my dad left," he's like, "That's what dads do. Don't be a pussy about it." That's such a Shane Black line. Tony Stark never said anything like that. Ever. He's always been snarky, but never like that. And that was such a Shane Black thing, the Christmas side of it, all that. But it's but yeah, it's better. It's still, if you look at it as a Shane Black movie, I think it's better. But anyway, that comes out soon, and I am excited to talk about this with the guys. We haven't discussed this yet, so we're gonna do it now. Jason Momoa officially cast as Lobo for the DCU to reportedly debut in Supergirl. As we talked about the other day, or Winston and Roka talked about the other day. Years of rumors and wishful thinking from fans and Momoa himself. Jason Momoa has been cast to play the main man, Lobo. Jason Momoa posted to his Instagram an image of a quote from himself back in 2023 during an interview he did with Fandango. Said, "So Lobo was, I collect comics and I don't do so much anymore, but he was always my favorite and always wanted to play Lobo because I'm like, hello, it's the perfect role." I said at the time, I mean, listen, if they could ask me to play him, it's a F yeah. I haven't received that call, so I don't want to put any fake news out there. But if they ever call me to ask to play, ask me to audition, I'm there. And it looks like that's exactly what happened. It looks like he's going to be in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and then they'll probably give him his own movie. So I think that this is easy casting. So this is what I'm going to do now in the comment section to let everybody know. As I said, I'm very aware of the audio thing. I'm going to try to fix it today. If you comment on it, I'm going to put you in timeout. That is how this is.
Daddy Kristian back, bro. Like, I was going to tell you that the idea that like obviously I'm hoping your wife is doing better, man. But the fact that you're watching the kids, you're in dad mode. And anybody when you're like, we're getting SpaghettiOs tonight, but Dad, you getting SpaghettiOs or you taking your ass to bed? Yeah, that's essentially what's going on now.
100%, and it's just like for 100% to where it's like like people just they want their perfect thing, they want their perfect show, they want all that stuff too. It's like I've been dealing with people shitting and throwing up all over the place for days. It was damn Exorcist in my house at one point. So with kids puking in buckets. So I don't give a fuck about your audio problems. I'll fix them. I'll fix them when I fix them. So you mention them, you're going right in the gosh darn freaking.
It's your store. Kick them out, man.
I'm not deleting them totally. It's the same thing like what people don't understand. It's that it's like the free speech thing. I had somebody the other day who was like, you guys were so Winston and Roka were talking about. I don't know. Like I don't like when they do it, but they get political sometimes, and I don't like it.
I said one thing, and it wasn't even that heavy.
Like it. I
mentioned Martin Luther King. I can't mention Martin Luther King.
That's not what you did, but that's fine. That's not fine. But it doesn't matter. I don't like when we get over political. However, that particular show also called for it inside of the conversation. But my point is somebody was like, when someone's like, well, Winston and Roka are this way on the aisle 100%, and then that same person's like, well, yeah, and Kristian is this way. I'm like, you don't know. Don't start telling people definitively what my politics are. You don't know anything about me. And then so that person, and I like to put people in timeout because it's fun. And it's also one of these things where it's like, if I put you in timeout, it means that I feel comfortable with you as a viewer, that we're having fun. If I ban you, that means I want you off. I don't give a shit if you ever come back. But if I put you in timeout and you get sensitive about it, then whatever, I don't give a shit. But that's what it is. Anyway, so let's get into this conversation. I think this is really, really good casting. It also shows the kind of levels of where they're going to go. I would assume they're going to make an R-rated Lobo movie, right?
Oh, you have to.
We leaning that way with DC as it is. I mean, we've already, discussed there's going to be levels to this. There are going to be some things that are R-rated, some things that aren't. I think this is a great example of like, if it fits the character. I personally don't need an R-rated Spider-Man. I would have loved an R-rated Kraven's Last Hunt, but that would involve Spider-Man. So that's like, there's a line. An R-rated Wolverine makes way more sense than an R-rated Cyclops necessarily. Like, You need to be able to sell enough tickets, and therefore PG-13 is going to open certain doors. But if a character suits it, I really am glad we're considering that. And Lobo absolutely suits it. Like, he fought Santa in one of my favorite ever Christmas issues and hooked him through the gut. Like the style of Lobo opens up a really interesting door because he preceded Deadpool. He came out first and was the irreverently violent vigilante. But I think honestly, this is great news because Tom King had written Lobo in the Supergirl comic initially, and then they changed the storyline. And I'm really curious if we're going to get some elements of like the Snyder cut, so to speak, of Tom King's original ideas for the story. Like, what's the more expanded version? So I'm top to bottom excited for this. And I think he's, like I said, Downey, Reynolds, J.K. Simmons level casting.
What do you think, Winston? I know you spoke about it at kind of great depth the other day, but this is like kind of ideal casting, right?
Oh, it's funny because I had somebody unlock a memory for me because we were just watching old trailers. And I remember watching the first trailer that we really see Momoa as Aquaman, and I was like, man, why old boy look more like Lobo than Aquaman? Like, I remember saying that when I saw the trailer initially. Like, he was born to play this role. Like, because Lobo falls closer to him playing Khal Drogo, or not Khal Drogo. Oh my God, you know what I'm talking about? Game of Thrones. God damn it.
Who is closer? What?
Momoa. He's closer to playing. Why can I not remember his name all of a sudden? That's the sick brain going on.
He was. He was called Drogo. That's who he was.
The name of the character, like Momoa played Drogo.
Yeah. This is how I know sick brain is affecting me because I'm over here.
Right, you were right when you said.
You were so right. We didn't know how to correct you.
When you said it, when you said it like 45 minutes ago, it was exactly.
Bro, I literally was sitting here thinking I messed up, and I was like, "No, that's the Rocky guy. What am I doing? That's Drago."
No, you
Ivan Drago.
Drogo, you said it right.
God, the Dayquil is already wearing off.
Wow.
All I'm saying is.
It's a long road to get back there, but we did it.
It's a long road.
And I already feel like cut you off, so I'm just like, we'll find our way.
Yeah, we did
it. So Lobo, he is closer to that, and Lobo is closer to Drago than he is to Aquaman, who I'm glad you brought some badassery to Aquaman. But Aquaman has really been the blonde hair, just kind of like, hey, I'm the king, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, he was almost too badass for it, and I enjoyed it. Right. But if we're being honest, I was like, yeah, this feels a little bit of miscasting here. He needs to play someone a little more badass. Not that Aquaman can't be badass, but he wasn't Aquaman. He was Jason Momoa. Right. Right.
Which it was a cool version. Everybody wasn't Aquaman. I mean, that's so this seems like he can actually play the character also, you know.
And how great is it that him as Jason Momoa made $1 billion with Aquaman, and Lobo could be an R-rated, free-spirited, like the shackles of even framing it as an Aquaman film are now off. Like the dude's a motorcycle riding space, like he's alien Jason Momoa, and the makeup allows it to look, different enough that it's not just going to look like Aquaman on a motorcycle. Like there is so much good about this news.
Well, there's also good news for everybody else. You know why? Because I'm going to save you some money with financials. I'm going to save you that with Rocket Money. I've told you about Rocket Money so many different times. This whole week, Rocket Money has been the whole reason that we are moving, pushing, and able to even look into trying to get some good sound issues. It is Rocket Money. Ladies and gentlemen, tell you about them. Here you go.
I've told you about Rocket Money, guys, and the reason why for Rocket Money was so important is that I for a long time I used to do these things where I'd be on my phone and I'd start searching for these apps. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll sign up. Oh, for free? Yeah, it's free for now, but then it's going to be $20, $30 a month, and you forgot that you're even paying it. And I was like, oh, well, this Rocket Money lets you know about what subscriptions that you have that you're not paying attention to. It can cancel subscriptions for you. It really is amazing, and it just cuts so much time out of my schedule, and I love it because you don't even know how much you're paying in subscriptions, and you're probably paying way more than you think, because over 74% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about, and I definitely did that. I can tell you that right now. Like there was a couple of, I'm telling you, some of these apps, I tried some of these apps and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot all about it. You think you spend around $62 per month on subscriptions, something like that, but it's close to about 300. You're close to about 300 a month, because Rocket Money is also, it's a personal finance app, and it cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors all of your spending, and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Everyone that's using it, 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Wow. It saves about $740 a year. It's great. So stop wasting money on things that you don't use. You just cancel your unwanted subscriptions. You go to rocketmoney.com/thing, rocketmoney.com/thing. Very easy. rocketmoney.com.
All right, thank you to Rocket Money, and I'm so excited to have them on the show each and every day here for the last 5 days. They're so great, and I hope that you guys have signed up, because when you do, you're helping out the show, but you're really helping yourself out. So, all right, let's get to this next story, gentlemen, and it is a rumor. So let's treat it as such, but there's a rumor that DC Studios is developing another animated movie alongside the dynamic duo. Last October, the news broke that DC Studios and Swaybox Studios have teamed up to develop Dynamic Duo, which is an animated movie revolving around Robin and Robin. Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, yes. It's expected to boast a unique animation style, likely giving it the same vibe as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Of course, many fans will prefer to see Dick and Jason in a live-action project, although there's been no sort of confirmation about whether this is DCU or Elseworlds. However, according to the trades, Dynamic Duo will depict how the friendship between Grayson and Todd as youths, the two youths, became tested by the diverging ideas for what their future should be. Reports that the characters will begin as a pair of thieves in the film were false. It's since been rumored that The Authority is being redeveloped as an animated project, a smart move on DC Studios' part given the success of Creature Commandos. Was The Authority supposed to be live action?
We haven't gotten any direction with it.
Got it. And in fact, it's hard to imagine a movie featuring those characters being a guaranteed hit. Today, My Time to Shine, hello, brings word that DC Studios is already developing another animated movie besides the Dynamic Duo. There's no word on what the movie could be. There's every chance it's a DCU title yet to be announced. DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn previously discussed his decision to kick off the DCU with the animated Creature Commandos. All right, well, we can get into that. So, look, do I believe that they're developing another animated thing? Yeah, sure. I mean, let me follow that up. Do I believe they're developing another live-action television show? Yeah, I do. Let me follow that one more. Do I believe that they're developing some more live-action films? Yeah, I do. So I think they're developing everything. Now the question is it going to be announced around the same time? Also, is another question. James Gunn even said when he announced his slate, they said this isn't all of it. This is what we're announcing right now. So yeah, I think there's more stuff that's gonna come out. But Coy, what do you think?
I think as to what you said, like it's a medium and it's a format within the medium. Like this is very broadly like animation, not live action, and it's very broadly like show or movie. Those are kind of the variables. And video games are being developed too, but this is the thing we're discussing. So I think it's logical to expand the DC animated universe, especially after the success of Creature Commandos and how popular DC animated films have historically been. So this does kind of feel like, oh, we've got peanut butter, perhaps jelly. Like it's yes, but I don't know time frame because it is really about the script being finished according to every announcement. It's like, oh, this now makes sense to discuss. So I love that we've kind of got to ride this roller coaster of like, I didn't know dynamic duo because it wasn't in the initial slate. And then that seems to be decently far along enough to announce. So I'm really enjoying this versus the let's look at a map of the next 5 years and know everything that's coming. I think this is a more enjoyable way to us to have conversations about it. Like, oh, this is a potentiality. So I hope we keep getting stuff that feels organic to the creative process versus organic to the suits wanting the bottom line to be art process.
What do you think, Winston?
I mean, look, like you said, some of their best work has been animation. I honestly believe outside of, say, like, the Spider-Verse films or things like that, that DC has fully dominated animation over Marvel, like handedly. Again, I guess another exception would be like X-Men 97, but again, that's a more recent sort of iteration. So it would be smart of them to do that. I think that the Tomorrowverse kind of fizzled out there, especially with the Crisis. It was fine. But I think getting back to righting the ship, and especially knowing how successful Creature Commandos has been. And I think you can typically get away with a little bit more violence with animation. So if you want to save it for series that are going to get a little more nitty gritty like that, I think that is also a big option you can do there too.
Mustard.
Perfect. So Coy hasn't seen that yet. So yeah, we had to pull it because I took if people don't get that the joke also is because there are a bunch of people, I guess, quoting Kendrick from the mustard thing, and the first time I ever read it, I just automatically thought it was the Mad Hatter. So to me, it makes a lot more sense than the original.
I love this big surge of Mad Hatter popularity. You're like, everybody's watching Alice in Wonderland. What a time!
Mustard.
That's the one part about us being back on StreamYard to do this, and since it looks professional, that allows him to throw his memes back in, and he's having a good old time.
Mustard.
This is back to I wish I knew. Well, I'm surprised it hasn't made an appearance.
Don't worry about it. My favorite part, though, was when you guys were on. Luke, who was, thank God for like Monday and Tuesday, was engineering the show. You guys were talking about whatever it was. My daughters were in the room with me while I was watching it, but I was still behind the scenes. You guys didn't know I was, and you guys were talking about American Idol, and I was quickly taking pictures like Clay Aiken and throwing like William Hung and throwing them on the screen, like right in the middle of it. And they're like, they guys thought Luke did it, and Luke was like not knowing what the hell was going on. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. Anyway, so let's move to the next. We talked about everything, right? Yeah, with the show we got that, but I guess as we talked about with development on live action, development on other shows, this is one that is very highly anticipated, and that, of course, is Aaron Pierre in the Lantern show, and now we get him commenting on it a little bit more, and he's talking about doing the research of the role, and that is on a Virgin Radio UK show. Aaron Pierre commented on the process of becoming the Green Lantern John Stewart, including his physical transformation and studying for the role as well. Lanterns is an HBO series featuring Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, Aaron Pierre as John Stewart, the most notable Green Lanterns. It's expected to release during the summer of 2026. Filming is scheduled to start on February 2025. So even now, it seems like Aaron Pierre is still doing his research for his role as John Stewart. During an interview with Virgin Radio UK's The Chris Evans Breakfast Show, Aaron Pierre commented on preparing physically for the role of a Green Lantern, as well as preparing for the knowledge of the character. He stated his opinion on the character of John Stewart as follows. He said, this character has always radiated class. He's always radiated charisma, strength, identity. So I'm very happy to bring him to life in a live-action context. It sounded like Aaron Pierre has a good understanding of the character he's about to be playing. He then gives an update on what he's doing to prepare for the role. What's happening now is my homework, my extensive DC homework, and my intense physical preparation. Aaron Pierre is hard at work. A few training videos have dropped of his physical preparation, and it does indeed look to be extensive. To add to the DC homework comment, he had this to say. It's comics, it's film, it's television series, it's all of that. It's sort of familiarizing myself with things that I already know and introducing myself to things I'm learning about. Sounds like he's familiarizing himself with the source material massively while also studying past interpretation of John Stewart. This Green Lantern has never appeared in live action before, so when he says he's studying film for the character, he likely means the animation DC movies. John Stewart has shown up in the likes of Green Lantern, Beware My Power. As far as shows go, I imagine he's been watching lots of Justice League Unlimited, a series I grew up on that features John Stewart heavily. During the interview, Aaron Pierre was also asked to comment on recent quotes from Jesse Eisenberg, who played a very different version of Lex Luthor, who he said he always tries to play the best version of whatever character he's playing, to which Pierre replied by saying he was not a method actor, but that while on set, he tries to partially stay in character. He continues to use whatever dialect and accent his character has, even when not filming. He also mentioned he continues to try to keep the character specific, Galt. All of this is part of the method of partially staying in character while on set. And then they just kind of dive into what this is going to be. I think that this is just going to kind of justify what everybody's been saying. Thank God this is the guy that they got, right? Like this, for a lot of different reasons. One, this is, you can tell the intensity. You can tell he also understands where he is in his career right now. There are certain times, it doesn't matter if it's an actor, if it's an athlete, whoever it is, that you get a chance to take the ball further than you did the previous season, right? And this is the time where the light is on him and they're going, what can you do right now? And he's going to go, everything I can. So he's diving into it. He's looking into this. It also is a testament to when you listen to, whether it's Frank Grillo or whoever it is talking about James Gunn, the kind of excitement that he has brought to the DCU and this kind of new team and understanding that they're the first wave of putting the flag down, if you will. You know, he's aware of this. He understands this. He knows that this is also the first time that this character is hitting the live action for the first time. So, Coy, how do you not want to hear these comments?
The fact that he's comparing the gym and comics as his training is exactly my ish. Like, as someone who loves the gym and loves reading comics to look like the comics, it's perfect. Like, I've never understood how there isn't a broier contingent of nerds, because if you're looking at all these jacked people, they go hand in hand. So I love that his prep is equal parts the gym and reading, and how much passion he has for both, because the physicality of a character is so essential. And I love that perspective on how essential it's going to be for a character that is so different. Like, you're going to be doing aerial work, you're going to have powers, but it's a grounded story. So how do you balance those things out? But also, there's so much history, decades of history with John Stewart to read. So I love that he's invested there as well. So I agree with everything you're saying. It's really special to see these actors like Frank Grillo, like him, so excited about being on the forefront of a new universe, like having David Corn Sweat know the stakes of playing Superman, having this actor know what John Stewart means to people, and he can't say much, but everything he's saying is what you want to hear for it's kind of like a teaser trailer. Like, I don't want to hear too much, but just enough to know what the world's going to be. I'm not wanting to hear too much, but he's saying just the right things in small doses.
What do you think, Winston?
I mean, I thought he was excellent casting for a reason, and it was not just from the look of him, but like the the skill and the passion he brings to the projects that he's a part of. I mean, again, people know I love to use sports as metaphors. I remember hearing a story once about because a lot of people may or may not know about Julian Edelman. He's a potentially going to be probably a Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Patriots, who in college and high school he actually was a quarterback, and a lot of quarterbacks do transition to wide receiver because they understand routes exceptionally well. They have to, as a quarterback, to understand what their players are going to do. So then, if they have the speed and they have the hands, it ends up being a good translation. And so I remember hearing a story about how him and Brady, occasionally he would play quarterback and let Brady run the routes, and same thing. You figure out your timing. You figure out, oh, this kind of happens when I'm doing that. I think the same thing happens when he's sitting here. Yeah, he could be a gym rat, but to go, oh, I get it. So like, this is kind of where this motivation is coming from. This is the thing that comes in the backstory. Any good actor knows that you got to go and read all of your history and figure out where you're going to go on that whole journey. So I think he's going to crush this role, and I can't wait to see what he does with it.
Yeah, me too. I think that the guy is. There's just some people who just got that thing, right? And he's got that thing, and I think this is going to be a very interesting role. I love the direction, at least the way it's been pitched in this True Detective side of things. I mean, I like what they are doing. I really like the whole vibe of what they're doing so far. But we got to see the finished product. We shall see. Okay, we have just a couple more stories that we're going to discuss, and that's why I wanted to tell you guys that we are also available on Apple Podcasts. We're available on Spotify, all these different things. We're going to get to your questions. Right now, Winston and Coy, as they do every Friday, putting up a fight here. We're at 21 questions already. We're going in yesterday, Steph and Mike going into the question section. We're at 30. So if the guys get to 30, then they're going to be on par to catch them. Can they do it? Who's going to win the first battle of 2025?
Come on, yo.
We shall
Come
see.
on, yo. Let's set the tone.
One of the stories that we did talk about yesterday, but albeit a little briefly, was this Batman story. The DCU's Batman looks like one specific actor, but is he the right choice? Interesting. We shall see that. And I just know that this character showed up here, Batman on Creature Commandos. They showed him in this week's episode of Creature Commandos. Batman officially made his debut. He was technically featured in a previous episode when Amanda Waller was shown a vision of the future in which Batman was dead and impaled on a spike. We didn't get a good view of him then, as he was almost entirely covered by his own cape, but in the most recent episode, we see him entirely, and he's huge. The DCU's Batman is massive. Out of all the live-action interpretation of the Dark Knight, what we see in Creature Commandos most similarly resembles Ben Affleck's hulking Batman, making Batman's first DCU appearance so similar to the DCEU Batman is an interesting choice. Could it be that Gunn has found his Batman in a commonly fan-casted actor? Full disclosure, Batman is only shown for about 1 second and exactly one shot. There's not a ton to go off of. Speculating about Batman this early could be premature, but Gunn's recent comments tell us what is shown is very intentional. He said the design team showed him a lot of different material for Batman and that he wasn't ready to commit to most of it. And they asked to include more silhouettes to keep things vague. That means whatever he was willing to comment to, for example, the size of Batman has to be intentional. Even so, it may be too early to speculate, but speculation can be fun. There's one actor commonly fan casted, and that could be Alan Ritchson. Alan Ritchson is one of the most commonly fan casted actors for Batman, right next to Jensen Ackles. Glenn Powell, Scott Eastwood, Jake Gyllenhaal. Simply Google actors who could play Batman. You won't find a list without Alan Ritchson. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. There's so much more to this in general, what I say here. The first thing is this means absolutely nothing when it comes to the silhouette of because the perfect example of that is either Frank Grillo in Creature Commandos, salt and pepper hair, whole thing, does not look like that in Superman, does not look like that in Peacemaker. Now, granted, it's not, body size is pretty much the same, but the look is different. The idea was to say, hey, Batman exists here. This is Batman. It doesn't mean because he's a jacked monster, it's going to be Alan Ritchson. Because I do very much believe that the conversation has gotten more and more serious about Robert Pattinson. I really do. And Robert Pattinson is not a big, huge dude. He's cut, but he's not a big, huge dude. Now, that doesn't mean that Robert Pattinson is going to be the DCU Batman. It just means that it does not mean anything except they just wanted to show Batman. But Winston, do you agree with me, or do you think no? They did this for a reason. It's going to be a big jacked monster.
I mean, two thoughts popped in my head. First was me saying the same thing. Everybody's like, damn, Batman jacked. But my thought, honestly, didn't connect to the DCU, even though it should have. I immediately thought of Absolute Batman, Coy. I don't know if you were in the same spot because I've been reading it. I was like, this crossover? Did I just find out it's not? Like, what is happening right now? Is just where my head went one way or the other. But I agree with you. I don't think it necessarily means anything, let alone the fact that, like, if you look at, say, The Dark Knight Returns, Batman in that world wasn't as jacked as he was as old man Bruce Batman in that case before that. He kind of put on hella muscle and whatnot. So it's fine. I'm not going to read too much into it because it was a silhouette and it was also a flashback. So the other thing that I think will probably end up happening in Peacemaker one way or the other, even if we, hop dimensions, I think we're going to start to get this idea of, memories and flashbacks can't be trusted. Like, and maybe that was it. It was like, oh, and then there was this hulking figure of Batman. The number of different times we've had storylines where a villain is describing Batman one way or the other. And then he was this giant Batman, literally. Like, he was huge. I don't think it's anything to worry about.
I mean, Coy, what do you think as far as, silhouette? And I always preface this to say, too, Coy doesn't know shit, even though he's on, the DC thing. They don't tell him anything.
I don't know about Batman, which hasn't been we've got an announcement of Brave and the Bold. That's as much as I know. Yeah. I think that the silhouette is, Winston brought up a really good point just now with the cowardly lot. Like, suspicious and cowardly lot is a whole thing about the criminals of Gotham, and that's why Batman takes on the mantle. So I personally think his silhouette being reflected in the henchman seeing him is a really cool take. I like that idea. We don't know how big he's going to be. That said, if they want to keep the Batman separate, which I personally hope they do, I love the idea of that Batman being a smaller Neil Adams, like, regular size guy, and then a big boy over on Justice League. So when he's standing next to Aaron Pierre's 6'4"-ness and David Cornsweat's 6'4"-ness, like, I think he needs to be a bigger dude so he doesn't look. He's already the only guy without superpowers. The last thing you want is for him to be like, DJ Qualls. Like, you don't want him to look tiny next to these big boys. So
well, I do have one question that I guess ask myself, is that when will the new Batman be announced?
I wish I knew.
There it is.
He waited for the right time.
That's right. That's right.
George Clooney confirmed.
And what a perfect time to do it with George Clooney. Who knows now? Who knows with what the hell's going on? Batman is going to, the thing is, and I think that we all agree on this too, even though right now they're not ready to announce Batman, they're focusing on Superman. When it is time, the Batman is going to take over the comic news cycle as far as when it ramps up of who it is, then when we finally find out who it is, then what the actual movie will be, who's going to direct it. That's why they're waiting, because Batman he's a rock star, It's like, so when I remember when Ben Affleck was announced, it was like this huge major story that was like that took over everything. And so the last thing you want to do is have anybody talking about Batman right now when Superman hasn't even come out yet. You just you do that afterwards. You hope, you cross your fingers, and you say, let's hope that this thing hits in the way that we want it to, because then you got two rock stars on your hands. Right now you got, someone who could be a rock star, and it's got the potential to be a rock star, but you got to get him. You got to get people to buy his album.
How great is it that right now in this conversation today, it is the year of Superman, and we had that amazing trailer end off the year, and we're excited. We have Aaron Pierre just starting to be able to talk about Green Lantern, and we're excited just from him in Rebel Ridge and him as an actor and the things he's saying. And then because of the Batman glimpse, a second in Creature Commandos to establish Gotham by way of Dr. Phosphorus, we've already got this whole conversation that feels like a universe forming before our eyes. That's so unique. And to be honest, I'm appreciating that. I loved the way the MCU did it because that's the way they had to do it. It was like, maybe this will work. Maybe we can do a shared universe. And we had these things come out. But I love that this feels like an already built out thing and we get to discover it in real time. It feels, I don't know, it feels like a game where finding new levels in. It's fun. I as a reporter, this is fun.
Yeah. So we'll find out more about it. Like I said, I think even though Supergirl was going to come out, I still think Batman, the news of Batman will start to come out around that time. After Superman's wrap, we're going to start getting more about Batman, but it'll be probably, I think Rocha said it, and I think he's right. I do think that we'll get an announcement of who Batman is, but it'll probably be towards the later half of the year, if not the end of the year. But we'll see. What say you guys? What do you think? What do you make of all of this? All right, last story before we get to your comments. And this is Deadpool and Wolverine star Ryan Reynolds reveals why they were almost stopped from using Wolverine in the title. Deadpool and Wolverine star Ryan Reynolds has reflected on the complicated process of making the movie a reality, including a legal issue with almost barred them from mentioning Wolverine in the title. Deadpool and Wolverine was one of 2024's biggest hits and a movie that went a long way in restoring faith in the MCU after a somewhat hit-and-miss multiverse saga. Rather than bringing the Merc with the mouth into the MCU, or Earth 616 to be a little more specific, it celebrated 20th Century Fox X-Men universe and franchise like Blade, Elektra, and Fantastic Four. Of course, what truly made the R-rated blockbuster excel was the return of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Talking to IndieWire, Deadpool and Wolverine's director Sean Levy and writer-star Ryan Reynolds were asked whether Deadpool versus Wolverine was always the plan. I must have pitched Kevin a dozen, maybe 16 Deadpool movies. A Sundance Deadpool, which was like a road trip with Margot Martindale, shot on no money, no special effects needed, just character. Reynolds explained, I pitched Deadpool is hunting. The hunter who shot Bambi's mom finds him, and they fall in love, become like Butch and Sundance. And of course, I was told we don't touch Bambi at Disney, and rightfully so. The actor confirmed that Deadpool versus Wolverine was a possible title for a time, something Levy elaborated on when he said the title was Deadpool 3 for a long time. Then it was going to be Deadpool and Friend. And we had a late in the process epiphany that the arc of the screenplay is that they are pitted against each other until eventually, and frankly, for audiences satisfying or joined enough, so it's versus that transitions into. And for some reason, we weren't allowed to use the name Wolverine in the title, Reynolds said. I have no idea why, some weird loophole thing, but at the last minute, we changed it to Deadpool and Wolverine. And they somehow pushed it through. But a lot of times, it's persistence. We were told we couldn't use Blade or Gambit. Levy added, a lot of things started with no. Not because they were micromanaging, but because the lawyers down the hall said that's not part of the deal. And yeah, we were hopefully respectful hammers. But for sure, we were hammers. If we felt that something was right for the story, we had to have it. We were just a little bit relentless. So it's clear that these remarks that even after the Disney-Fox merger, bringing these characters together wasn't a simple process. It's a shame Reynolds didn't talk more about why Wolverine couldn't be included in the title, and we can't help but wonder what legal issues that could mean for Marvel Studios' future X-Men plans. What it means to me is that what we keep hearing about is that the reason why they haven't been able to introduce X-Men until a certain year. I think that they probably, when they were making this movie, like, no, we can't do this because our deal goes up until 2025, 2026, or whatever the hell it is, and you can't do that. And then they're like, okay, wait a minute. Technically, it says this. Could we use the name in the title? Technically, I guess we could. So then they found a way around it. Or we might have to pay X amount of dollars in order to do that, but it's not as much if we were going to break the contract and do a new Wolverine or something like that. So it goes back into the whole conversation that we were having about like the Spider-Man talk, or like what's in that contract that says, can they use Peter Parker? Can they not? There's so many tricky things in the same way, like, well, you can't use Blade. Can you? Well, you can, but you have to use Wesley Snipes, or you have to, or you can't do this, or you can, but you have to use Jennifer Gardner if we're going to do it at this point, because that might be the deal that they had with Fox in the old regime, right? Is that you can't use any of those characters yet, but if you do, you've got to use Jennifer Garner, or you got to use, Wesley Snipes. So I don't know, Winston. Do you see the same kind of legal thing there?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of my concern one way or the other as to why we haven't moved forward with the X-Men quite yet. I think we were talking about this, that we had until 2025 that you had to kind of stick with certain characters. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo that was like locked up in there that you just couldn't do certain things. But all that being said, we got one hell of a movie, and we got one insane like nod and homage to what was 20 plus years of good, bad, and ugly films out of Fox. So it is what it is, but I am glad that they were respectful hammers as they so aptly called themselves, to be honest.
Coy, do you see this as more of like that this Fox deal will soon hit the date that it's supposed to hit, and then all hell's going to break loose?
What's crazy to me is, even with a merger of studio, it seems to me like there's contracts that are like, we've got a 5-picture deal with this actor. Even if the studio goes away, this actor is contracted to play this character. So I think 2025, from what we've heard, it's just the rumor of the number, but it seems to be like that was the expiration point of maybe the full ending of Fox, or the full ending of whatever those contracts were with the merger. So I do think the floodgates are about to open, but it is interesting that while they're developing this, 2020 through 2023 or however long, whatever that journey was, it was this kind of, lawyer battle. And I could never imagine being an IP lawyer at that scale with characters like this and between a studio merger. That must have been so exhausting. So I am ever more appreciative of Deadpool and Wolverine existing because of the insanity of the behind the scenes we hear.
Yeah, it's like it's the legal jargon. I mean, I remember even when being at Warner Brothers and like certain things that they wanted to clear, and I remember that there are certain names. And you know what's hilarious is that I saw Anora recently, right? And did you guys both see that movie?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I think we talked about it a little bit, Coy, and I said like the majority of that movie is hilarious. So like when you see it nominated for comedy, I get it. Like, but the very end of it, it's clearly not a comedy, but the majority of it is a comedy. However, the first like 15 minutes, I'm like, oh, they're just basically doing Pretty Woman, because Pretty Woman was, I don't know if you guys knew this, but it was a drama. It was the name of the movie was called 3000, and before Disney got it, it was a dark comedy. There's a dark drama about prostitution and all that, and at the end of the movie. And then, Julia Roberts is like addicted to cocaine and stuff too. And by the end of it, Richard Gere dumps her out on the street and takes off. It's not what we got, right? So, but then that quickly changes. Fast. But I was curious about it. And I said after I saw that, I was like, I wonder what that original script of Pretty Woman is even floating out there, right? And it is. And I looked at it. It was fun. What's hilarious is that the character of Richard Gere, his name in the movie is not what's his name? It's Edward Lewis in the actual movie they made, but in PLD's gonna love this tidbit. His name was Ed Harris in the movie. And the reason I bring this up, there's no fucking way that they're gonna get a clearance of a character his name being Ed Harris. There's no clearance. There's no way. And so that goes up. The first thing that they say is like, hey. Yeah, okay, you guys can change everything you want to do here. This guy cannot be Ed Harris. So change his name to Ed Lewis. It can't be Ed Harris. And that's probably exactly what happened. So that kind of stuff that I think is very interesting, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Like you can, as a creator, say, well, that's the guy's name. It's Ed Harris. Bullshit. It isn't. It's a legal team not allowed that. No, not unless you want to pay this because you start paying money for it, So that's it's very interesting. Anyway. So that's it, guys. Thank you for sticking around for this part of the show. We are excited to get to your questions, and we got a bunch so far. But before we do, real quick, Winston, what's going on your channel?
Yeah, so later today, my best of 2024 movies will be coming out. I'm very excited to put that out there. I'm most excited about the fact that I got the call from my mother-in-law that the computer came, which means it should arrive here either Sunday or Monday morning. So that means I can finally get in there and get back to work. Once I've got the computer all set up, I'm going to do a live stream to kind of announce what's going forward with the channel scheduling and all that kind of awesome content that I have coming up. So if you haven't already, please go over to youtube.com/theswaggyblurred. You can also follow me on other platforms as well. But I am very excited to get started off my 2025 strong. But for now, come check it out today, my best of 2024.
You can find me on my page today. I'm dropping my most anticipated of 2025. I just put up my my favorites of 2024. I did 2 parts. I do a 24, 2024, I did a 23, 2023, etc. So 24 to 11, and then my top 10 favorites of last year. 2 videos on my page. Also covering Creature Commandos that just dropped last night at midnight. So today, part 1, 25 through 11, and then tomorrow going to be doing my top 10 most anticipated of the year. And I did my 33 videos I dropped in December. So tons of stuff over there. And January, I'm going to rest a little bit more. So I'm going to do like 3 or 4 videos a week, but I'm also going to sleep a little.
Well, it was one of the things I was supposed to do, obviously, during that break was, or, the whole thing when I was taking care of the family was, I was supposed to do most anticipated. I was supposed to do my best of. I haven't done either. So they will be coming up soon. Okay, guys. So yeah, like I said, yesterday, Steph and Mike going into this had 30 questions. You guys sit at 27. So not bad.
Good start.
You got to hit 93 in order to defeat them today.
I believe in y'all. And real quick, before we get to the questions, to give people time to throw some more in there for sure. Coy, what did you think about the Dr. Phosphorus origin story? Holy crap.
Dude, I love that episode so much.
Don't spoil.
I won't, but I'm just his thoughts just off the rip.
It was beautiful to see Gotham. I was hoping, it's not a spoiler, you've seen 1 second of Batman, but it was beautiful to see Phosphorus get his due, and also the cinematography of that episode is some of the best. Like the actual visual language of that character, Episode 6, episode 4 and 6, I think are my two favorites.
Dude, that and the fact that I really loved the throwback to Batman the Animated Series by a particular character that showed up, and I was like, oh, this is like if you did make that character rated R, because oh my god, that is way worse than he was in the original cartoon.
All right, let's start this off here. We got Ian Davis is the first one. With Christopher Nolan set to direct The Odyssey, got me thinking. Would it be possible for him to direct another superhero film? Which superhero do you three think would be best for him to direct in his style? Well, let me squash this before we even start, because someone just tagged me on this video, which is interesting. They said it was a Christopher Nolan rapid fire thing, and one of the things they asked him was, would you ever do another comic book or superhero movie? And without even hesitating, he said no. However, they said, would you ever do a Star Wars film? He said, pass.
Interesting.
He didn't answer the question on that one, but he definitively said no on that. But I mean, for me, I'd want to see him do something similar to what they're doing with what's the one that they're doing, the Clayface. I'd like to see him do something kind of smaller.
If he was going to do it, I was going to say maybe The Question. I think just because he's very good at weaving a mystery, and you know, Abrams talks about like the surprise box and all that. He's very good at like kind of leading you down something and all of a sudden surprise. So like, I think if you were going to do that, something like A Question would be great. But yeah, I'm sure as much as his movies are loved, as far as, you know, the Batman trilogy that he did, people were also all up in his ass because it's Batman of all characters. So like, I'm sure he doesn't want the smoke. I'm sure he sees the writing on the wall of how people are treated doing comic book movies now. I don't want to do that.
By the way, real quick, I couldn't chime in and from the back with start disagreeing with you. I disagreed with what you said the other day about Bill Skarsgård. What was wrong with his comment? He said, I know I've got a good Joker in me. He's like, he knows how to pull it out. He knows he's got enough in there that he's like, I know exactly how I would approach that character.
I get it. It was, however it was directly phrased, I was just like, bro, what? Essentially, Coy, what it was is however he said it, I mean, to tell me like, yeah, I got a great Joker in me. And I was like, bro, you sound like you about to go kill somebody. Like, chill out, bro. You could be like, I feel like I would crush playing the role, but it's like, yeah, I got a good ass Joker in me.
Yeah, I didn't take it that way. I took it as far as him just saying, yeah, I just know, because this is a guy who's played Pennywise, he's played Nosferatu, he's played all these characters who are like, yeah, he's got it. He knows how to do it. It's just, he didn't say, oh yeah, I was looking at somebody online at a grocery store, looking at how I could chop them into pieces, going, oh yeah, I know how to play Joker. I would blow that person's face up.
While we're talking about it, I honestly think Skarsgård would make an amazing comic accurate Joker, and I love that we've had so many different takes, but we really haven't had like the clown prince of crime yet. Like we've had Jack Nicholson, we've had Heath's punk take, we've had like, so I would love to see 6'4" comic accurate Skarsgård.
He was so good in John Wick. He was so good in that movie. He was so good. He's like, and he's great in Nosferatu. He's great in everything. But there was something about like that. Sometimes, like, all right. So let me give you an example of like Juno Temple, who is just an amazing actress. I love her. I love her so much. And Chiwetel Ejiofor, for that matter, wasted in Venom. Right? These are two great actors, wasted in it. That we all say anybody could have played those roles, and you didn't have to spend the money to waste two great talents. Now, if there was a bad performance, or in John Wick 4, that character was wasted, like what the hell do you need Bill Skarsgård for? Anybody could have done that, but Bill Skarsgård made that such a role to where you're like, oh my God, look what he did with that role, and you're like, it was so memorable. He was just as memorable in that movie, and he could have been just forgotten, like, oh yeah, he was the villain in that. I remember he was so memorable because he was just so great.
And my answer to the Nolan question is I would not touch another superhero film if I was him either, but I would love to see him do a New Gods movie. I think he'd crush the New Gods.
And last quick thing, like if you remember though, I didn't say that I thought that he would be bad. I thought he would crush his Joker.
No, you didn't.
The way it was presented, I was just like,
I guess that was the thing. I didn't mind the presentation of it, but no, you didn't say anything against.
Oh, I thought he would kill it. He's a fantastic
actor. Crashing Coyote, very important question. Who wins in a fight to the death? Jeff Schneider versus Jeff the Land Shark. Place your bets now.
Easy, Jeff
Jeff the Land Shark all day. Sorry, Snyder.
That's
Well,
not
Jeff-
even, bro.
No, it's not even. Did you ever see Jeff will tell you the same thing. You ever see him box you bowl? You bowl beat the shit out of him. You guys ever see that footage?
I forgot that was him. I saw it before I knew Jeff. So I saw it when it was just a guy getting his butt kicked by
I give Jeff all the credit in the world of getting in the ring with him. And
100%.
he did. He got in the ring with him and he fought, but he got his balls kicked in.
I did not see that. I'm gonna go look that up.
Yeah,
now.
it's on there. You can find it. Like, yeah, Jeff Snyder boxed U-Bowl for. I guess he said something about his movie, and U-Bowl challenged him in the ring, and Jeff goes, "I'll do it," and he got in there and he just got his ass beat for.
Dude, look, as much Rivals as I've been playing, Jeff the Land Shark's gonna do that ultimate and just spit him off a cliff. It's
all things super. Are you worried about the Superman screening rumors? I will say, not at all.
You had me the first half.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Not even in the slightest. This to where I just disagreed with Winston. I agree with him thoroughly at what he said the other day about the screenings. Is that every screening is meant to get notes. You get notes and you say, okay, wait a minute. This is what they liked. This is what they didn't. Because for the people that said that they didn't like it, first of all, how do I know I agree with them? How do I know it wasn't Bibiani that said that? I don't agree with anything Bibiani says. How do I know that wasn't him that saw it? And then there are people who loved it. What are those people that I saw that do agree with me? So test screenings, I understand their purpose, but I don't start to say, uh-oh, look out. Let me hear now the initial, and Winston said this the other day too, press screenings, because that's a finished product. So let me start to see. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be accurate either, but they're watching a finished product. But Coy, I know you're terrified about these screenings, right?
Oh, I have lost sleep every night about imaginary screenings that someone could have typed and said existed. If there was ever a movie to have people lie about, it's this one. And I've never cared less about other people's opinions in any genre of any medium. Like, I don't know why people are so invested in other people's takes. But I personally think if there was ever a take, it's an entire army of people that are going to just type stuff about this one sight unseen. I don't know of any screenings that actually happened. So until I hear of them and they're of people that I care about their opinion of, I don't think it's going to happen. But until then, when it's released, I'm going to see it myself.
I'll be honest, Coy. The only reason that I don't care, but the only reason that it's something to pay attention to is just the fact that the adage of, the lie, nobody will believe the truth and the lie is more entertaining. If you sit here and you smear it this whole time before it gets there, that is something that's concerning, because then you've just put this horrible kind of thought out into the ethos. But again, the point of screenings now, as I said yesterday and Kristian just reiterated, is to get your best final draft done. Yeah. You are trying to get notes.
And the movie's out in 7 months or 6.5.
Yep.
Yeah, that means nothing to me. Gopal, running behind. Here's some support. Thank you, Gopal. Always a tremendous supporter, and really, really appreciate it. Rock and Roll Movies with Tyler. T the man. What up, buddy? He's been a member for 2 months. Thank you. Hey, y'all. So interesting 2024 music list, Coy. Have some recommendations, but stay tuned for YouTube posts.
Sweet. I put out my favorite albums of 2024 for the first time. I've never talked about music online,
nice.
but I thought I'd dabble. So please let me know, guy, on my video.
Smart. Simon Section. I would rather have seen the lie Matt Smith said he wasn't in Rise of Skywalker. But he was. That was the whole thing. People, and I remember I said he's lying. He was lying. He was supposed to be he never truly confirmed it, but he was supposed to be like young Palpatine or something. But he was cast in a certain role, and he was going to be in it. And he talked about it on Josh Harwood's show. But he was supposed to be in the movie. Okay. So, next one, Mr. I Crap and Shits. Hello, Crap and Shits.
Mm-hmm.
Happy New Year's, guys. Hope all is well. Roca and Winston, they held the fort down very well. You can count on the DEI crew. I kid. Have a great weekend. He's kidding. He's kidding. Real nice. I didn't even see that at the end. All right. Well, you caught me on that one. Heroic Hideaway. I'm enjoying Creature Commandos, but I feel it would have been better cut as an animated movie instead of a show. What do you think? Keep up the great job.
My only pushback to that is we have allowed a lot of these episodes to tell the origin stories of these characters. If you do that to make it a movie that people are going to sit through, you got to cut a lot. And I liked spending time with Dr. Phosphorus, with the bride, with Weasel to really know why they're so misunderstood. So I got to push back and disagree a little bit on that.
I couldn't disagree more. No disrespect. I think the movie idea would make it feel like one thing, and this feels great and serialized like a comic book. As Winston's saying, each episode feels like an issue, and that's because of that. Plus, I mean, binge culture has ruined people's attention spans as it is. I think long form, we need more of it, not less of it. So I really like the show format.
I agree. Okay, let's see. So we all know that Winston is a huge Dodgers fan. Exactly. What's his hope for them this year? He doesn't know anybody on the team. Also, who do you guys think is at the Super Bowl this year? Lions? We'll let Winston answer about the Super Bowl first, because then he's going to come up with some bullshit story about the Dodgers. Like he actually knows who they are.
You gotta love that nobody actually ever listens to the.
Where'd you go? Yeah, but why did he leave?
He's going to go play for the Dodgers.
Why did he leave? We were in the middle of a conversation.
It's crazy. What a weird choice. I like that this looks like Sports Center too in the back where he's gone.
Why'd you leave, Winston? Come on, you're supposed to be. I'm sorry. Just go ahead, please.
He's dodging his answer. That's the best Dodger impression he can give. He's just, frankly, he's out.
Stop doing that. You're messing up the shot.
I messed up the shot. So as far as the Super Bowl goes, I think most likely we're going to see probably the Lions. And honestly, I still don't have any proof that anybody outside the Chiefs are going to do it. All those other teams are good. I just think that the Chiefs are on a mission. They're trying to go out here and break history. I would have given the Eagles a shot, but now I hate them more than I've ever hated them, because you're not going to let Saquon go get this record. I am still fuming about that.
I've hated them even before that. But so I don't know. This is, a lot of times, when you're watching a movie or a TV show and there's just a certain actor for some reason bugs you, and you don't know why it is. It's like they didn't do anything. It's like that person just bugs me. Mahomes is that person for me.
Really? Because that's how I've always felt about Brady.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I see him on those commercials with Snoop, and I go, "Get that guy out of here." And I don't know why. There's no merit to it. He seems like a nice guy. I just don't. He just annoys me.
When did that kick in? When did that kick in? Because is it everything else around him? So is it the idea that like his wife is pretty annoying and his brother is annoying? And
don't even know who they are. You wouldn't pick him up out of a lineup. I don't know what it is. He just annoys me. Don't know what it is.
That's fair. I like Mahomes. But I think it'll be the Chiefs and the Lions. And as much as I would love to see that for the Lions, I just think the Chiefs are gonna make history. Honestly.
Yeah.
I know Kendrick is going, and that's all I care about. I hope Doechii is also there. That's my my pipe dream is that Doechii opens for Kendrick at the Super Bowl halftime show. But otherwise, there's just people playing football. But there's a Kendrick concert in the middle.
You'll be watching for the trailers.
I'll be working and then Kendrick concert and then back to work.
That's right. All right, 36 questions right now, guys. 36. Pete Parker, 2288. Chances we see a Penny Parker movie/show. I can confidently say I have no idea.
I think it'll all depend on what Sony wants to do after Spider-Man Noir. I think Spider-Man Noir is kind of like an opportunity to see if that works as like expanding out.
I think eventually, but I think you've got to figure, like Coy said, you got to figure a lot of stuff out right now. And I think that Penny is low on that totem pole. If anything is closer, it's again Miles, that you've already really established him as an MC, and his direct connection to Peter. So I think you just gotta wait. Penny's way down the line.
Wait, Lions is Detroit, right?
Yep.
Oh, so Eminem would be in the stands while Kendrick. What a great concert.
So you're gonna love it. All right. So Joe for show. Momoa is Lobo, but will Dog show up? Hope so. What is that? Is that someone from the comics or nothing?
I think he's talking about like Lobo's got a dog at times. So I think that's what he's referring to. I'm curious if eventually they get to his daughter showing up, if Crush shows up, because Crush has been really popular lately. But priority one is, I think Lobo's just going to crush.
If I remember correctly, Dog is like this giant like bulldog that is like supposed to be the antithesis of Crypto. So the same way that Lobo was constantly annoying Superman and and them kind of having their scraps, Dog is just like ugly ass bulldog that just
I forgot his name was Dog. Thank you, Winston. That's why my brain went like Dog. Like you're right. It is that
DAWG Dog. Yeah.
And horrendous looking, like slobbering. Yeah, thank you.
So it really is kind of like a Deadpool thing.
Oh, and he preceded Deadpool a bit.
Okay. Marcus Longoni. I keep seeing the report that soups are worrying. Any truth? Same thing we were just talking about before. By who? Like, who's really saying that? Like, it's not to say that it's not true, but by who? There's been so many movies that have been doomed before they began, and then they turned out good. I remember that people saying, "I'm hearing that Wonder Woman's not that good," and Wonder Woman was great. There's a lot of reports that a lot of people say aren't very good, and then it's worrying, especially a movie at that caliber. So, no, I'm not worried about it, and I don't think you should be yet.
Literally until you get to the press screenings, and even then you take it with a grain of salt until you see it with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Because I told that story earlier this week. Coy, hold on. Excuse me.
I agree.
I knew somebody who was working as a low-level producer on Abbott Elementary who was like, yeah, the pilot's great, but then after that, the next 3 episodes, they're trash. The show will never make it. And how many Emmys has this thing already won and killing it in season 4 and has this awesome crossover coming from Always Sunny now? Like, people talk about it.
See it yourself. The question is, will the movie be good?
I wish I knew.
All right. Armada. Genius movie pitches. Mark Wahlberg returns for Boogie Nights 2, where he struggles to renew his Blue Chew subscription. Nice. I would say Joy Mode.
I'd watch Boogie Nights 2, Joy Mode Boogaloo all day.
He'll never do it. He regrets doing that movie.
Well, he's all like Jesus-y now. He got his tattoos lasered off, and he's all like, oh,
what?
Yeah,
really?
Mark. That's why he works with Mel Gibson so much.
Long time ago.
They Christ bros.
Ruby Bands, scratching my ear. Ruby Bands, did you guys hear that Coy was cast as Green Arrow in the DCU? Also, thoughts on Ben Affleck as DCU Two-Face? I know that at one point, James Gunn said that he was talking to Ben. They want to work together. Just got to find the right project. I don't know if was just politics, or if maybe they will actually do something together. If Ben Affleck comes back to work at DCU, I think it's to direct. I don't think it is to be in it anymore.
Probably not. And if he does, it won't be anything major. It would be a cameo situation. I don't think he wants to be in the middle of all that.
And you can't do that again. I think Momoa, it works.
He's in makeup, and he's also the character.
Don't start doing that with everybody. I understand that you can do it with Momoa, but don't start bringing back everybody, because then you're gonna catch yourself into some crap. It's like, why don't you just recast Henry?
Like, if you're gonna do it, I would say if you're gonna put Ben in it at all, make him like Thomas Wayne. And make it that kind of like nod cameo type situation where you see him do something like that. If we ever really get to spend time with like Thomas and Martha, that could be like a really interesting thing to have him do in that regard. Yeah. And then push comes to shove, if we get way, way, way down the line and we somehow do like a legit Flashpoint, you could, if he still wants to, you can make him the Batman then. But other than that, no, he's not doing anything other than a cameo.
I think you just let him direct. He's a very good director, and I think that it'll work if he directs. Okay. Mild-mannered comic nerd. Coy, loved your X-Men Christmas extravaganza. The TV show and podcast question was the best. Winston, thoughts on DB Dama? I'm not into it, but Vegeta's season, I don't know, I'm pronouncing it.
I got you. Winston, thoughts on Dragon Ball Daima? I'm not into it. With Vegeta's Super Saiyan 3 clip, I enjoyed. I want to see a young Beast Gohan. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun with it. Like, once I understood what it was, and it's more of kind of an adventure take than getting to like the standard fighting stuff we got in Dragon Ball Z and Super, then I've accepted it for what it is. But yeah, seeing Vegeta Super Saiyan 3, this is what people have been asking for forever. So it's cool to see, man.
Yeah, that was.
I think he's excited about it. Like, I love Dragon Ball, like Z and earlier. I now Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 has me intrigued.
Mild-mannered comic nerd. Last question. What is the best way to store comics beside comic boxes? My 2 comic bin weighs as much as Thor's hammer.
Jesus.
I used to keep all my comics on bookshelves. Like, I bag and board them, and then I would just be rows of white on the bookshelf because they are so heavy. Out in LA, because I'm in an apartment, I do have them in long boxes, and 300 long boxes is only like 50 or 60 pounds. But if you don't like working out. That's probably heavy. I love having heavy boxes to move around, like 'cause I'm a weirdo, but I personally understand wanting to tuck them away. I'd get really good quality bookcases. Don't get anything that's like particle board, because you can break them with comics. They add up really heavy. Get a good quality bookcase, tuck them away, alphabetize them, know which shelf they're on, and you don't have to worry about it again. And also, the last thing was about my podcast, Coycast, that I never talk about. So thank you for watching that. We did a whole Christmas special where hundreds of people tried to trick me with X-Men questions. And one of them was literally asking about a panel of a comic from 1976, and I pulled it.
Mustard.
All right, let's get to the next question. Don't let's be silly. Let's see. Next one, and this is from Rangers fan 1996. Just watched Super Slash Man, and I regret forgetting the tissues. My face is an absolute mess for both the good and the bad. Love the show as always. Yeah, it's a tough watch, man. I mean, it's like, especially when the guy was just so beloved and such a good person. You know, when you see all this stuff and what he's done. Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a really special documentary. Highly recommend it.
Ruby Bands. Harloff as Wildcat in the DCU.
Interesting.
I don't know what the hell Wildcat is. What does that mean?
Are you still boxing?
No, I'm throwing up. Does that help?
You're getting cut.
Yeah.
He's a street level hero who was a world champion boxer, and it ends up being a big fighting trainer for a lot of people in the Justice League. So even if they have superpowers, they don't know how to throw hands. So so that's why.
Get a DeLorean and get my 23-year-old self to do it.
Okay.
Nick Vaughn. In my opinion, both linear and nonlinear storytelling can work, and linear has worked for phases 1 through 3 of the MCU. They're in a rut right now and are working on recovering. So let's see how things go. I don't know if rut is the right thing. I think trying to, it's like they're just not at the highest quality. But the other thing is too that Deadpool and Wolverine is still their last movie that they put out, right? So right now they're in the win box. Now that's the same way that they were in the win box when Guardians 3 had just come out, and then they threw the Marvels out there and basically just rolled up the windows and farted in the car.
Oh my God.
And so then you've got.
That's how I felt during What If, man. I was so happy with X-Men 97, and then Agatha won me over, and then
Right.
What If happened.
Right.
And those windows were up.
Oh, you weren't here for the talk about Bo going at the What If.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, for sure. And then he's not wrong, but that's a whole. You guys talked about it, right? But anyway, I think that they can turn themselves around, but I don't think Captain America is going to be the way to do it. I think that what's going to happen is I think Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. That's when you're going to start to see the up. I think they're going to have. I think we are going to have the conversation with everybody else from February until March, because March I think Daredevil is going to come out. I think Daredevil people are going to be happy about. But I think from like Daredevil on, they'll start to pick things up. But I think you're going to hear that conversation now. Marvel's in big trouble because Captain America was the farts. I have less and less. And this is the same conversation we just had about Superman. I have no faith in Captain America right now. I feel like the movie's going to be bad. I could be 100% wrong, and I hope that I am.
That newest trailer I love, but I want to feel more excitement that I don't yet feel.
Yeah, the trailers were good, by the way, but we have seen trailers be good. I mean, the Green Lantern trailer was good. Trailers can be good, but can you polish a turd? And I hope that this isn't polishing the turd. I hope it's an actually good movie. But I just feel for some reason I don't like where we're at with this movie right now. Anyway. Let's see. Next one is Ruby Bands. Winston as Mr. Batman in the DCU.
Mr. Batman.
It was so for Coy, you weren't here. So somebody had shorthanded Matt Reeves' Batman as capital M, capital R Batman. And so Walter read it, he was just like, the thoughts of Barry Keoghan staying as the Joker in Mr. Batman. I was like, you mean Matt Reeves? So I just think Mr. Batman.
I love that so much.
It is pretty great. Kristian, unpronounceable. If y'all love Frank Grillo, you should watch Boss Level. Awesome movie. Frank Grillo can do no wrong.
Dude, that's one of my favorite action comedies of the last 10 years. That was actually one of the last Collider screenings back when Collider was what it had, like that iteration of Collider. Boss Level was one of the last things we did before the pandemic.
That's great. Mike Joyce. Right now you got 41 guys. You got 41 with half an hour left. You need around 52 to tie. 52 more to tie. Speaking of Aaron Pierre, did any of you guys see Rebel Ridge? He was amazing in it, and it was a great movie too. I agree with one part of that. I agree that he was amazing in it. The
You didn't like it?
It's not that I didn't like it. I just the movie was it could have been so much more, especially with him in it. It's like people are saying, "Oh, it's First Blood." It's nothing close to First Blood except the fact that no, but I mean, as far as the story goes, it's like, okay, yeah, here's a guy that was being harassed and then getting thrown into it. That premise very similar to what we're saying with Lenora and like Pretty Woman. And then it ceases to be because the guy never even saw combat, before. He's just really smart, knows how to kick ass, and then I thought it could have been more. But I thought he was electric. I think he carried the whole movie, and he's the reason that I cared at all.
Maybe that's what I'll watch tonight. I had work I had to do this evening, and non this related. Maybe I'll put that on while I'm writing.
It's the best audition tape for John Stewart I can imagine.
Easily. Buster Barnes. I feel like DCU Batman has to be a fairly big dude if he's going to stand next to Corn Sweat and Pierre. That's why I feel like Sklenar. I love that choice. I also
know that person.
Yeah. Did you watch 1923? And he's also, did you watch?
Oh.
And did you see the Blake Lively movie, the one that's gotten all the controversy?
No, I didn't. But I just pulled a picture of him. Okay, I remember. Dude, I recognize this guy.
You know what's so when I was watching that show with my wife, who we loved at 1923, loved it, and we both said the same thing. We said, "This dude is going to be a star. Like this guy is. He's got that thing. I don't know if they're going that age range with him. I would love Brendan Sklenar as Batman or anything. He's fantastic. I don't know how big he is though. How tall is he? But he can't be more than 5'10" though. How tall is he?
Let's see.
I bet he's 5'10". If I was to guess.
He's about 34 though. He looks like he could be
Brandon Sklenar.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
6'2".
He's 6'2".
Yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't know he doesn't. I didn't know he was that big. Holy shit!
Yeah,
okay.
No, he
can
kind of play any age. He looks like he's in his late 20s and mid 40s at the same time.
Yeah, he's got that Paul Mescal face where it's like, what age are you?
He's great. Chris Grenier. If Jensen gets Batman, Padalecki needs to be Joker, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Commissioner Gordon. I mean,
casting Supernatural.
Hilarious. I do like Jensen, but he was just. I keep saying. He was just cast in something recently.
Jensen Ackles?
Yes. He was just cast in
sure it's not the Boys thing that he's doing.
Oh, yeah. He's doing a Boys spinoff show.
Is he
I think that's what you're thinking of.
He's doing a spinoff of it's called Vought Rising.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what it was. And then he could.
He's from Dallas? Oh, shit. I didn't know we were cousins.
Spidey Sensei 72. Coy, have they ever explained why John Stewart doesn't wear a mask in the comics like Hal and Kyle?
It's proud of who he is. It's a strong theme for John Stewart of his pride at like he has nothing to hide. He's who he is. That's why he's doing it. It's actually a huge part of why I think Rebel Ridge is such a great audition tape for. That's the character. Like there's a sense of like, nope, not hiding anything. This is who I am, and I think that's a really unique take in the DC Comics universe.
It's the same with Guy too, isn't it? Because he's also just that arrogant.
It's the inverse, right? Like John Stewart is pride and Guy Gardner is arrogance. So it's the same reason, but in the same coin on the other side.
And one has a stupid haircut, and the other one doesn't. Right? So Armada, hey, big shot puppy over here with glasses on his balls. It's from the Dice. Andrew Dice. Have you guys been done what I told you to do there with the Instagram and look at Dice's Instagram?
Oh, I just dabble every so often. It's amazing.
It's the best.
It's an adventure every time he posts.
Did you ever see the one where he's chasing after Seinfeld?
The Seinfeld one is how I discovered when we talked about it.
Oh, it's absolutely the best. It's so good. Winston, you haven't watched it yet?
I haven't seen it. No, I didn't even know you said to do that.
Oh yeah, you have to. Damien Eve, Happy New Year, guys. Thank you, Damien. Have you guys watched Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass? It's possibly my favorite limited series. Super excited for his take on Clayface. No, I didn't, and it's not to say. Look, Mike Flanagan is hot right now.
You haven't seen Midnight Mass?
It's so good.
I saw Midnight Mass. I love that damn show. It is fantastic.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen not a one of Squid Game. Not a one.
Yeah, we talked about this already. Yeah. You've got to, man. You would love it.
Not a one. Mike Joyce. Kristian should be like Coy and Winston and grow a cool goatee. I know, it's so funny.
It's holiday length.
Yeah, it's I sometimes it just grows out and I go, I got to cut that stupid thing off. Legend MM600, Happy New Year. First Friday of 2025. Y'all rock. Thank you, man. Just curious, what's your favorite movie coming out? Or most anticipated? I'm excited to see new Captain America movie soon. Oh, sorry, as I just shit all over it. So I think that for me, the two that I really want to see the most is out of the big budget ones, I'm going to do the anticipated, and there's going to be a ton of like small ones on there too, but the big ones, Superman and Avatar 3. Those are the two that I really have to see in the theater.
Big budget wise, Superman, and regular size, The Accountant 2.
Yeah. That's good.
Sinners, and probably somewhere between Superman and Thunderbolts, probably more towards Superman, but yeah.
Simon Section. I remember the ending to Pretty Woman. The last shot was a homeless guy talking to himself. What's up with that? Yeah, Kristian, they showed some respect to Ed Harris. Well, yeah, in the beginning, well, that homeless guy, first of all, we don't know if he's homeless. Second, he begins the movie. What's your dream? Hey, mister, what's your dream? You remember that? I do. All right, Buster Barnes. Really hope when they introduce Flash to the DCU, they take from how Makara's speed scenes were done in Eternals with some added lightning effects. Thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I think that was the best example of like super speed that we've seen in a live action, in my opinion, was what they were doing with Makaris for sure. I thought, is it Makaris? I thought it was. Is it Makaris?
I think so. I haven't seen it since that year.
But
yeah, I love that speed use. Agreed.
Tyler B. Did anyone mention the sound? LOL.
I wish I knew.
And now Dennis Hoffman. Coy, have you read your buddy Dex Shelby's Thundercats? Surprisingly fun book.
Yeah, Declan Shalvey, the guy who invented Mr. Knight, not Moon Knight, but that persona of Moon Knight, and a bunch of other incredible stuff, is on Thunderbolts, and he's killing it. It actually is one of the highest selling comics of last year at not the big two. Like it's outselling big two books. It's fantastic. Yes, I've read it.
Don Ronaldo McWhiskey. Happy New Year's, everyone. It's New Year's. It's new me. I'm watching from an elliptical at the local Planet Fitness. I love that.
Hey.
$15 a month, and you can get totally jacked. There you go.
It's a great ad. I love that. Yes.
Do it, Don. Armada. I'm worried about jumping to different mediums for films and TV to build the DCU. Seems super risky. Why not all live action? Probably because of money, but still, you just nailed it. It's because what it does. Look, here's the thing, and please, Fanimator, don't start knocking your head into the
You're gonna give him a stroke.
I know. But the reason why you can do animation also for you get the on Max, and not everybody's gonna watch that Creature Commandos, and most of the mainstream audience has no idea what that show is, and they're never gonna watch the animated stuff, and they're never gonna pay attention to it. But the hardcore fans and the people who want to continue in this world, and it's like bonus content for them, and it's bonus stuff to do, and it's bonus way for you to set up the characters, and you say, hey, we did this Creature Commandos thing, and Rick Flag is in there. That's actually the first time he appears in the DCU. But to other people who don't like animation, they go, hey, I found this guy from Peacemaker. Those people who don't want to watch the TV shows say, hey, I saw this guy in Superman. So there's just a way to expand it in general, I think. Coy, would you disagree?
I just think multiple mediums is really useful for telling different types of stories. Like in addition to cost and exposure and all those things, I also think there's elements of versatility in different mediums and different pulls. Like the video game stuff intrigues me because I don't think we've ever seen that share in a universe. And there are so many gamer fans that might be more interested in that story. So I think in addition to all the things you're saying, it's also the medium as a strength for bringing in new audiences.
I think that 100%. And I also think that it allows you, as you mentioned, the money thing, for example, it allows you to very quickly, like animation can a lot of times take longer than live action, but it allows you to also kind of bridge the gap sometimes when it's like what we were expecting from What If, that it would have more of an effect on the MCU one way or the other, right? And so it just will allow you to kind of give extra stories in there as well. And not to say that they're not important on their own, because they are.
Chris Cranier, can someone please explain to me how we have 3 lanterns at one time? My understanding is for Earth to have a new lantern, the other has to die, so 3 at once? Multiversity? Never understood as a comic fan. Did I miss something?
Coy, I got it. Coy, I got it. Okay. As someone who has always kind of sort of known about the Blackest Night storyline, but I just read it over the Christmas holiday and it was incredible. So one, the idea that apparently all life really started from Earth, which is a whole thing that the Guardians were trying to hide from stuff. So they were actually keeping lanterns away from the Earth. There's nothing that says that you only have one lantern in a particular place. But as Abin Sur, was that the so as Abin Sur essentially died and gave his ring to Hal, it then kind of opened up a floodgate of like, well, this is kind of where the epicenter of a lot of heroes and stuff was going. So as that happened, you were the rings were essentially finding more and more people that were worthy here on Earth. So it doesn't really affect it one way or the other. They're still space cops. So just because, let's say you had 4 cops that were from Brooklyn, they may end up in different divisions. It's the same thing. You're just getting more dudes that are coming here and they still got to go into space and go work other sectors. But that was the thing. If there are other people of different races, multiples on different Earth worlds, and this is kind of where we are now. I butchered that, but Coy,
that's totally fair. No, and I do think the thing a lot of people don't talk about enough is that Earth was kind of an origin point, and I think that does allow for a lot of the like, why are there so many on this weird, like, why does everybody live on that street of the universe? And I think that's the essential part of this question is that doesn't get talked about enough, and I hope that's an element in the True Detective themed show of like why Earth's important before we go out into space cop stuff.
Are we getting Necron already?
I think we could.
Interesting.
And I also think we'll have an important death that has ramifications out. So I think we could.
And I was just thinking about the slippers that I got my wife for Christmas. All right. Mild-mannered comic nerd. Hey, Kristian, could you do me a huge favor? Can you please say Darth Vader's burnt asshole? I think it's hilarious how you say it. You sound like a teacher reading the attendance list. Thanks again.
Son of a substitute teacher.
So you guys are at 50. You need 43 to tie.
Come on, y'all.
More to tie. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey. I will super chat 50 if Harloff goes to just one Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class this month. Just one this month. I'm supposed to go next Saturday. I got to talk to Matt tomorrow. I'm supposed to start next Saturday. So you might have to put that super chat in, and I'll let you know if we do it for sure. I got to talk to Matt. Shit, I'm supposed to talk to Matt today. Chandler Hoispile. I liked Aquaman for what it was, but Momoa just never felt like the Aquaman that I'm used to. Lobo was a much better fit. My daughter loves the Superman trailer. When I told her there were about a Supergirl movie, she got so excited. I think that's also what they're trying to do here, right? That I think is smart. They set up Supergirl in this one of the biggest movies of the year. They introduce her, they get people excited, and then you capitalize on that. But as far as I want to see the comic accurate Aquaman, we never really have seen it,
Ever, like Super Friends was the closest, and that was some time ago.
No, even Vinny Chase couldn't do it.
I know. We were saying James Cameron. Even James Cameron can't direct it. Who can? Right. Except for the guy people want as Batman playing him on Smallville, which was closer.
Right. That's true. You got live action in TV, but never on in film.
But even that felt like a broier take than like the comic.
Right. So all right, go pal. After Coy randomly pulling DJ Cowls, I might have to rewatch the new guy this weekend.
I'm gonna do that. Do that. Oh, I love that movie.
I was trying to think of the skinniest person I can imagine.
Him and Jay Baruchel is the other one.
Yes.
Him I had on.
Who's the biatch now?
Two icons too, man. I love both those guys.
Freddie Castellano, excuse me. Do you think since as Steph would say, Penguin was a R-rated show, the Batman 2 should be R-rated? I think it would solve the potential confusion of two Batmans and make something for everyone. Happy New Year. Was the first one PG-13?
Yeah, just a heavy PG-13.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know if it should be. I think you probably have to. I don't love changing the ratings of a sequel after the first one has already been whatever it was, whether that's PG-13 to R. The best example I always give is Major League 2. Major League, the first one was rated R. They made the second one PG-13, and it just completely changed the overall tone of what that movie is.
Die Hard,
yeah. They made the third one. Apparently, there's an unrated cut that I still never seen. They made the fourth one.
The fourth one being PG-13, just yippee-ki-yay, mother father.
Well, they didn't. Well, he just
cuts at it. But the TV dub is like legendary. There's so many different TV dubs of the PG-13 cut, and then they're like, let's make that a movie.
But no, they shouldn't change it. Do you guys think that?
I don't think you need it to be rated R. I mean, depending on the villain, I guess. But like, they showed the strength of a good PG-13. I thought in the movie.
let's be honest, that movie's never coming out. All right, so unknown. I don't know. Winston said it best last week. It's turning into Blade. Unknown saw Challengers and thought it was meh. The acting was great and the idea was cool, but overall fell flat. Have you seen it? I really enjoyed it. I didn't love the ending, but I really enjoyed the movie a lot. I think that Luca got a little too over stylized at the very end with the match, and I thought sometimes the music overpowered some of the scenes. But I did like the movie a lot. I really did, and I'm looking forward to Luca's. I like him a lot. I think his movie's going to be on my anticipated, and everyone will say the reason why, and it's not true. It's because Julia Roberts is in it. It's not the reason why. I actually want to see.
Stop lying to yourself.
I want to see. All right, fine, I'm lying. But I want to see. But I do want to see Luca's movie. It's gonna. I think it's gonna be. And it's got our girl from the Bear. So I'm excited.
I liked Challengers. I didn't think it was like a lot of people put it there like top 10. I liked it a lot, but it wasn't that for me. I thought it was a little. Everyone said it was like the hottest movie ever, and I thought there were moments that were certainly like ooh, but it definitely like. I thought Baby Girl was way more like.
I heard that Baby Girl.
I told you, it's filthy.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say.
More my speed. I thought Baby Girl was much more what I wanted Challengers to be.
Well, I mean, the part of the conversation that was interesting is I remember when Challengers was coming out. That was around the time when that survey came out that Gen Z was more interested in movies about friends than like getting it on, and so like that was like we like this one though. So like I don't know, it's a baby step in, I guess.
Jen Zendaya wants things hotter.
It's the comedian in me that I still don't know if you're allowed to say things. I don't care. It's like, see, the difference is that Zendaya likes to fuck around. Nicole Kidman fucks.
That's kind of the plot of these two movies.
100%. 100%. That's the whole point. It's just, she's just like, oh yeah, just kind of teasing. Ain't no teasing about nothing. Nicole Kidman's like, brace yourself. Here it goes. 3 point stance. All right. Ethan Linhares. Hey guys.
3 point stance.
How about Skarsgård as Batman? I think 10 years ago. Well, but I don't know. But I shouldn't say that. Alexander Skarsgård as Batman. I shouldn't say that. It depends on a matter of casting. What age? What are they looking at? You know, he's a big dude. He's a big
big ass dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and he's pretty charismatic. So it's not terrible. It's just a matter of what they're looking for age wise. He's got to be close to 50 years old now.
Yeah. He's up there, man. 48.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, he's 6'4". I've completely forgot.
He's a big dude. He's a big
dude.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they got him and then his brother to play the Joker. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love that.
That'd be great. Unknown. Do you still recommend Nerd Armor? I do. Looking to buy myself my first lightsaber for my birthday. I have been terrible about that. Let's say, they're still a sponsor on the show. I just haven't been able to promote it as much too. But if you can find my link, use my link. And yeah, they're great. I love their sabers. Absolutely love Nerd Armor. Okay, let's see. Next one is Buster Barnes. I wouldn't hate Richardson as Batman, but I feel like he could fit into other roles better. Captain Atom, Shazam, Wildcat, Aquaman, to name a few. Yeah, I actually really like Alan Richardson a lot. I do not like him as Batman at all. He comes off as I don't know. I was going to say too serious. Batman's not exactly a jokester, but like I don't know. I robotic.
I could see him as Batman, but I actually like all of those except for Shazam that were just listed. I think he'd be great as Captain Atom. I think he'd also be great as Major Force, as a Psycho. I think he'd be great as Wildcat. And if you want to go the Aquaman, like if we're tapping Justice League Unlimited to the one with the hook, who is also kind of, he's not like Surfer Bro Momoa, but he is you're not going to F with Atlantis. Like if you want to go that, then I think he could fit any of those.
I love all the Wildcat love today, and if you haven't read, there's a new Black Canary comic out right now. It's only on issue 2 about her training, and she's fighting Lady Shiva. It's a boxing comic, and the comic is told from like boxing commentator's perspective. It's so good.
That's cool. All right, Winston, I just realized that we gotta get you at least 38 more because you've been on 4 shows, and if you don't win one of them out of the 4 shows, that's gonna be something.
It's embarrassing. But then we know what the real problem is. Roka was holding me down, bro. Because like right now, I think we've already passed all of the other shows.
Well, on Monday, I think Monday you guys had 70 something.
Okay.
Monday
okay,
it
that's
said
true.
some, yeah, because that was the one to beat, and then we beat that yesterday. Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday it was tough because it was the holiday.
This is a
But
holiday,
yeah, it was tough. All right, let's see. I wouldn't hate Richardson. We did that already. Next one is Ethan. For Marvel Rivals fans, Fantastic Four trailer 1 to 6, 20.
Oh hell yeah! So on January 6th, and that's what today's for Saturday, Monday. On Monday, okay, bet I'm ready.
Nice. Heroic Hideaway. Coy, will you be getting the Mr. Miracle Absolute Edition? Winston, who is your main Marvel's rivals? Kristian, my house is also nonstop Wicked. Yeah, Wicked is playing in my house over and over because now the 7-year-old's into it now too. So
Oh no!
yeah, so they both and so much so that I actually put my short this morning was a Wicked Easter egg. That was a short because I found an Easter egg that from all this freaking because now here's the other thing. I will tell you this. You guys know how much of an advocate I am that I hate social media.
Yeah.
What do you think my favorite social media platform is? And then if you guess it, you got to guess why.
TikTok.
No.
Instagram.
Yes. Why do you believe so?
Booty, 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 rocking there well.
No, that'd be nice, but but no, because of I think that the algorithm on Instagram is wonderful, and so what I did during the time, I was like, you know what, I want to find some spots in the city and in Long Island for like good food recommendations and things. So I started liking some stuff and putting some stuff into like a folder, and then my algorithm just started popping up more and more places to go and check out, jazz places that I want to take my wife to, like Italian restaurants, other things. And like, it's just so much more like helpful than, and I don't have to look at stupid comments and things there too. I'm just looking at certain things that are going on and like these recommendations. But the other thing is because I was watching it, and then my daughter wanted to watch some Wicked stuff. The other part of my algorithm was all Wicked shit. So the other thing was like an Easter egg and other stuff and I found all these different things inside of it. But what my 7-year-old absolutely loved, and I don't know how we found this because it just the algorithm popped it up, was a roll of toilet paper singing instead of popular, popular. She loved it, and I don't even have you know what? I'm going to play the audio in just a moment.
Okay. All right. Well, while he does that, go ahead, Coy.
I was going to say, Mr. Miracle Absolute Edition, I am going to get. I've got it in every other edition. I have it individuals. I have the first trade as a trade paperback. Like, actually, no, I gave that to Steph. Steph Sabra, I gifted my Mr. Miracle paperback. I have the first hardcover. I have the special edition right there. And then I'm going to get the Absolute. It's my favorite DC comic. I love it.
Nice. I will go based off of the 3 different types as far as Vanguards, Captain America, as far as duelists, either Hawkeye, and now Punisher is kind of sneaking in there for me. And as far as strategists, gotta get Jeff the Landshark, baby. Throwing people off cliffs. That shit is hilarious.
You're gonna be popular. I'll teach you just how to sit when you take a shit. Little ways to drop an ounce poo.
That goes a long way with a 7-year-old. I'll tell you. All right. Next one is Muhammad Hassan. I'm on bullshit. It goes a long way with me. I heard that there was a Superman early screening and it was negatively received. Any truth to that? That's when we got that already beforehand too. But yeah, I mean, we kind of, not to reiterate. No, I just wait until the movie comes out. Just wait till the movie comes out. You guys are at 59 with 8 to go. Can they get it? Can Winston get himself out of this hole? We'll see. Hey, Ryan Abney. Hey guys, hear me out. What do y'all think of Henry Cavill as the DCU Batman? He's got the look, physicality, and acting chops to pull it off. I'd love to see him make a comeback for DC like Jason. Yeah, it would be interesting, but the chances of that, you got a better chance of Spidey Cat being Batman.
I think the other thing too is Henry Cavill isn't like an absolute like layup, like he was born to play Batman. When I tell you Jason Momoa was born to play Lobo, you would be smoking crack if you didn't immediately go, we got to do it. We have to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I just don't see that happening. Coy, no world, right?
I think it's a fun idea, like my fun idea to have him play Apollo, but not really likely.
Yep. Ethan Lindhurst. I'd love to see Raul Coley from Midnight Mass in Marvel or DC. He's a fantastic actor, and I think he'd kill it as Constantine. I don't know enough about the actor, but I don't know if you guys think that's...
I can hear him as Constantine, which is a cool... Yeah, he's got the right accent. He's got the right energy in the accent. That's a fun take, and I definitely think he should be. I think he's fantastic.
There's a part of me that wants Matt Ryan to just keep doing it. Like, there's something that's very funny about the fact that the Constantine is exactly the same no matter the universe. No, like, it's just the same dude.
Buster Barnes. If there is actually a DCU video game, I think one following a younger Hal Jordan around space would be awesome. It's possible. I mean, it depends on the popularity of this stuff, right?
And that's the strength of having, the same voice actor is you could have him voice it, and that could be the younger, getting to the point we get to Lanterns as, the actor's in his 50s now or 40s or whatever.
All right, let's see. Next one here is from Indiana Jake. Are you all Dexter fans? The prequel show's better than I expected. I can't wait for Resurrections too. I do. Look, I love Dexter. I really did. Not the last season, but the one before that was supposedly the last season, I bailed on. It was so bad I couldn't do it. I just watched the last episode and said that's stupid. And then when they did the last season, I was actually blew through that when I had COVID the first time, and I really enjoyed it. So the idea of a prequel series is interesting. I know that he's actually doing the voiceover for it. I'd be interested in checking out a couple episodes.
I'll give it a chance because I do love the first 4 seasons of Dexter.
Yeah.
I did not come back after that.
After Trinity Killer, I fell off. I'll be honest.
Did. Most people did because they lost the showrunner. After that, but he came back for that last season. I just talked
and the last season is good. That's a good place to go back.
It's good.
Okay.
The last season's good. I mean, it's like the other stuff just started getting into very soap opera-y kind of. He's making dopey after what happens at the end of season 4. It's like he kind of lost his whole anchor of what he was supposed to do. But anyway, all right.
Surprise, mother.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Those memes. Dennis Hoffman recast choice for Sinestro. I loved Mark Strong, but that's the wrong move. Wrong movie. Sorry.
It is a hard bar because Mark Strong is not one of the problems with that movie.
No.
He's so good as Sinestro.
Paul Giamatti.
Give me that ring.
Yeah. Are you afraid?
Come on.
What's the dude's name from John Wick that runs the Continental? The pirate-looking dude.
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane.
As Sinestro.
If it's just a voice and he's in is usually like under. I just love his voice, man. I think
Kung Fu Panda.
Just get Cillian Murphy to keep doling out fear. Take him from Scarecrow over to Sinestro.
The voice of Sinestro is so key to me.
Yeah.
Tantrinin 9101 with a very generous super chat. Cheers. Best of luck to all of you in the new year. Thank you,
Thank you.
Very kind and very, very nice of you. Thank you. Joey Pedras. Adrian Grenier for Ocean's Master in I think you'd have to give him a cameo.
I love it.
I think you got. I was surprised he didn't get a cameo in the old DCU. I think he should have a cameo.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
He does so much environmental work too. Like he's actually like a conservationist now. So great. Yes.
Dennis Hoffman, Harris Dickinson as Nightwing. Loved him in Iron Claw and Baby Girl. Oh wait, is that?
Yeah, that's the dude in Baby Girl. He's great, man.
What is he in Iron Claw?
He's one of the brothers. He's the second to oldest brother, I think.
Is he the? Oh, I can't say that. Hold on, let's see. Harris.
Yeah, don't give away things.
No. What was he in Iron Claw? Hold on, let me see. Because it's funny because he's another one. I thought he was really good in Baby Girl from what I've seen so far. But I said to my wife, I said, does he annoy you? And she's like, no, why? I want to know. You know what? He was great in Iron Claw. He was great. All right, I changed my mind now. He doesn't know him.
Redemption for Harris Dickinson.
Yeah, he was great in Iron Claw. I loved him in that movie. I thought he wasn't getting. I mean, nobody got love in that movie. Nobody got love in that.
That's one of the biggest Oscar snubs I can think of.
Ever. Russell Amador. Has anyone seen Shiva Baby? Highly recommend. No.
I'm tricky with comedy. It wasn't my sense of humor, but I know a lot of people like it.
Which one was that?
It's the one with the girl from The Bear. It's like a comedy set during a Shiva.
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, no, I haven't seen this.
Mohammed Hassan. Coy, what are your top 3 DC comics if you're just starting comics?
Let's go Superman for all seasons. Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb. Really good, all-encompassing Superman story. We're going to go Batman Hush, which I would say that, or Batman Year One. Year One is super approachable, but Batman Hush is going to catch you up on a lot of villains, and it's beautiful Jim Lee art written by Jeff Loeb. They're actually both written by Jeff Loeb. And then Either the current run of Wonder Woman, because I think it's very approachable and very good and really gets her as a character, or Mr. Miracle, which is just my personal favorite DC comic of all time. It is really cinematic and it's really approachable because it takes place in a world that is fantastical, but also is in LA. Like, it's grounded in LA, but it's also a big fantastical story. Winston, what do you got?
Oh. Didn't ask Winston.
Damn.
I just saw you nodding. I wanted to give you a speed round.
I just got told to shut the F up forever, so I'm still sitting here.
No. As far as Winston, if you want to know his comic choices,
I wish I knew. God damn it! I knew that was coming.
Go ahead, Winston. You got one?
The only thing that I will add to that, you said Hush though, didn't you?
I did.
Then never mind. I have nothing else.
So that's what you should do then. All right, let's see. Let's go. Chris Grenier. Now hear me. Put if he's done in MC, only if he's done in MCU. Tom Hiddleston as Batman. If we're going older,
Nah.
I don't see it. I love Tom Hiddleston. But
Me
I don't
too.
see it.
Not as Batman. But he's a great actor. But nah.
Constantine.
Oh,
he'd be
that's fun.
Great Constantine.
Great
Constantine.
pull, Winston.
Yes. Tatched in 9101. Why is Josh McCouga calling me in the voice of Tiffany's dad?
That might be a poll that I'm not
That's
old
old.
around enough.
That's Toad Hop Days stuff, but I don't know if I necessarily remember it.
Tiffany Smith?
Blocked all those years out. Yeah, Tiffany Smith. Kenya King. I hope we get more holiday center. Bless you. I hope we get more holiday center DCU movies. Some of the best Justice League. What is that? Justice League A.
Justice League of America or Unlimited
Episodes were centered around Christmas.
Oh, Justice League animated unlimited episodes. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean they were actually pretty good. There's a fun one in season 1 of Justice League where you've got like Martian Manhunter going with Clark to the Clark to the Kent household for Christmas and learning what Christmas is. You got John Stewart and Hawkgirl go to a bar and they get in a brawl for Christmas. The Flash trying to help deliver toys to kids since he can literally do what Santa does. It was a fun sort of thing. So yeah, if you're trying to get like a very fun loving thing, I think that could be good.
Okay.
Any buddy cop thing I'm all about, and I think Christmas and buddy cop go together well. So Shane Black, DCU, confirmed.
68 questions thus far, and Winston, you at least try to beat your Monday. Let's see.
Come
on. Brooks Wilkins. Hey guys, pick for Green Arrow in the DCU. Coy.
Thanks. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, no, Coy, that goatee is the goatee is.
If not me, Charlie Hunnam. I think Charlie Hunnam would be an exceptional Green Arrow. I'd only come back to acting for Kevin Smith or for Green Arrow. That's my list. But Charlie Hunnam, I think would be really, really good.
I'll tell you, more so, Hunnam is kind of, Hunnam was really good in The Gentleman. But a lot of times I've always felt he's just okay. I'll tell you who I really like is that Travis Fimmel from Doom.
Oh, he's great too.
That dude is awesome.
I love Garrett Hedlund.
Yeah, he'd be good too.
Charlie Hunnam's best friend. I'd love to see that.
He'd be really good.
Aaron Edgerton.
Oh.
He's going to land somewhere.
I hope so, man. He's
I loved him in Carry On. Did you see Carry On?
Dude.
It was so good.
Dude, Kristian, you're going to love
I
Carry
know.
On.
Dude,
damn, I might have to redo my list.
You know what's not fair is that, and for Winston, you guys know, you both have significant others, is the fact that, like, we're always, if we watch something that the significant other wanted to watch without them, we're the bad guys. But if they do it, you should have been around.
Why weren't you here?
Oh, bullshit.
And I love when there's like an actor they do or don't like, but they're in a thing. Like, actually, Trinity Killer, Anya doesn't like Jonathan Lithgow. She doesn't like him because of how good he was as Trinity.
Okay.
So when he pops up in something, she's like, I don't trust that character. And I was like, you reject him once.
So funny. I've been doing it. So now every time with my daughter and the little one too, it's like because of Oz, it's the one thing now I can do an impression because that they both get. I'm like, oh yes, well, yeah, okay, yes. Eat your strawberries, have them. Oh, okay, eating them, nice, yes. and so I did that the other day, and the little one looks up and she goes, Oz. Vincent Zawada, hope the show with Rocha and Dan is happening. I will tell you, Vincent, that as soon as I'm done with this show here today, I'm going to text Dan Merle to see when we can lock that down. We're supposed to do that. We shall see. Matt Thomas, Ackles for Batman. Enough said. Perfect casting. I like it, man. I just don't know if he's gonna do it. I like Josh Hartnett also. Is another one. Okay, I think we're at 70 right now. So Winston, you got about 2 to beat your record from Monday.
Come on.
Buster Barnes. Glenn Powell is Green Arrow. I'm just overexposed. And literally any woman as Black Canary.
Any woman.
Yeah, so Glenn has chemistry with everyone. Also, I hope we get JSA appearance in Sergeant Rock. Yeah, I like Glenn Powell, but he's getting to that Jennifer Lawrence phase when she was super hot. You know, like when she was in everything, and she's like she had to take a break. Give the guy a break. He's in everything now, and it's just like there are other actors out there.
Give him a couple years than Cyclops.
Yeah.
He's more my Cyclops than Green Arrow personally.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so next one here is Ethan. Ralph Fiennes.
Oh,
Ray Fiennes. Excuse me. I said Ralph
Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes.
Isn't it Ray Fiennes?
Yes, I said Ralph Fiennes. It was from the Clark and Sam episode. I kept saying Ralph Fiennes, and Clark was like, because her Fiennes giving, so I kept saying Ralph Fiennes. But Ray Fiennes, who was actually fantastic in Conclave.
He's so good. I love that pull. Great call.
Yeah. Let's see. Joey Pedras. Do you think Harley Quinn will be a big presence?
Not for a while.
It's too confusing right now because of James Gunn's kind of jumbled canon. Some of Suicide Squad is canon. Other parts of it, not. Like what? Like Jared Leto is not the Joker. You know what I mean? So that's tough.
I think we need distance from Harley Quinn. I hopefully the show, because I love the animated show, can keep going. But and James Gunn's on that.
They dropped the trailer. It should be out soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, January 16th, I think it drops.
I think so.
Nerds Engaged. Danny Rand fan cast.
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know any martial artists.
Not white martial artists.
And that is important to the character. Like that's the point.
Sure, but I don't think he fits the character though.
I don't even know who that is.
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
Okay. Legend MM600. Haha, you guys rock. Favorite superhero? Mine's Batman. Superman.
Batman.
Spider-Man, Batman, Deadpool.
Nice. Chris Cranier. Batista as Bane. Well, you know, it's funny. Josh Hartnett asked Gunn about that. I don't think Batista wants to play him anymore. I think that was like 10 years ago. I think he's grown. I think literally he has grown out of it. I don't think he wants to put that kind of weight back on.
He like spent the last 3 years losing the weight because it's not healthy to walk around with an extra 100 pounds on you.
Yeah, and he's got to be 55 years old. I think he's done with that. I think and he's a really good actor now. I think he's going to focus on certain things like that and not just do the physical stuff. So I don't think we're going to get him.
Should be played by a good actor this time around because it's Tom Hardy's not a bad actor. Bane should also be played by someone with like intelligent, captivating.
Yes, but
he's not Batman and Robin.
No, now if he was going to be following up Bane right after he did Dune, I'd say sure, but he's not in that. He's not in that physicality anymore.
But him for Hugo Strange would be great.
Yeah, Starboy. Do you think that we will get Batman Beyond Under the Red Hood under Gunn? If so, who would you cast for Terry and Jason?
Do we get Batman Beyond and Under the Red Hood? Well, you're gonna sort of, for doing dynamic duos, you're gonna probably get some thing. I'm assuming we're getting Red Hood Jason and not Robin Jason. As far as Batman Beyond, sure, but we're a ways away from that. Just because Batman Beyond takes place in the future, you can't start with that and go back. You need to really establish things first. And who would I cast? I have no idea.
Jason, I'm gonna go with actually Harris Dickinson. I love that idea for a Robin, but I think he does have that unnerving, like I don't know if I trust you or not thing that Jason Todd should. And then Terry, I don't know. I would want. That's such a hard person to cast.
Nice, Winston. Dennis Hoffman. Is Alan Richardson as Orion in a new Gods movie? I see. He says I see Alan Richardson as Orion in a new Gods movie.
I like that a lot. I think that suits him more than most of the fan casts and more than Batman.
Tat Ronan. Hickory Dickory Dock. Guess it's Finstock.
Oh my God!
I love these throwbacks.
I talked to him the other day. Ethan Lynn Harris. Who is your dream casting for the MCU's Ghost Rider?
Norman Reedus.
Reedus or Ryan Gosling?
I actually like Gosling. That would be fun.
Yeah. And then Tatchman says Finstock can tell you that David O. Russell knows a thing or two about a thing or two. It's just David O. Russell. My favorite thing ever. I don't know, the hardest I ever laughed at a Schmodown match ever was when Finstock played Matt Nost. He was trying to answer, and he said Chadwick Boseman for Chadwick. He said Chadwick Boseman, and then he tried to get the point off of it, and we said, no, we can't give you the point off that. And then he had this moment where he completely unintentionally fuddles his erase board, and it flies out onto the floor. It was hilarious. It was something out of an Abbott and Costello movie. All right, Maisie's World. New Year's resolution to watch Disney Plus John Williams doc. I do have to watch that. I still haven't seen it yet. Has anybody seen it? No.
I figured if you being a score guy.
No,
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. So right now, that's it. Good news, Winston, is that you beat Monday with 76. The bad news is that you guys get defeated by Steph and Mike, who win the first battle. There's 76, but that's pretty good. Hey, 76. You come in, poor Roca coming in last place again. So thank you guys for joining us here today. I really, really appreciate it. Real quick, give a shout out to your channel. What just where can they find it?
At Coy Jandro right here on YouTube. Hunt me down.
At the Swaggy Blurred, same thing.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I just lost the feed. Almost.
It's all good. Thank you so much for joining us for the Kristian Harloff Show. What it's really called is Capes and Cowls. On behalf of myself and Coy, there he is. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what's going on with this. That's the one thing. I'm still learning the buttons, but there it is. Thank you for joining us here on the show. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. Thank you for being here. We have the Clips channel. We have so much going on. We have I have the Iron Man 3 reaction that should be coming out. If it doesn't come out this weekend, it'll probably come out on Monday. But you're going to see an uptick in those because Sam's going to be coming into the office a little bit more. We're going to try to knock out as many of these as we can. I've got Out of the Theater reactions for Den of Thieves 2 coming in next week. I've got Wolfman the week after that. And then we're just going to start. Thank you, Spidey. And then we're going to start heating up. So thanks for being here again. Thank you to Winston and Coy for Capes and Cowls on this episode of the Kristian Harloff Show. Bye-bye.